doing out there? Is everybody alright? All my homies out there, how you doing out there? Yo, YouTubers, is everything alright? Yo, YouTubers, is everything alright? How you doing out there, all my homies, all my YouTuber friends, all my homies? Is everything alright? I'm gonna do a little speech for you now, and I'm just trying to sound on my guitar with this microphone. And how I sound, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm starting off my live stream tonight with a little song for you. Oh yeah, I wrote it especially for my YouTube buddies out there, and everything's gonna be alright. Two people are watching, two people are watching right now. And how do I sound on this microphone with my electric guitar in its case, and I'm using my Spanish guitar instead? How's everybody out there? Two people watching, it's Philip Hall. Philip's watching. Yo, Phil, how you doing, man? I'm testing the sound of my microphone and my Spanish guitar. Here's my favorite chord, my favorite chord of all time. I'm starting my live stream. There's two people watching. Anybody else out there? I know Philip's watching. Everybody else out there, let's have a family get together. Let's all feel alright. Let's feel alright. Let's feel alright, yeah. Oh yeah. How you doing out there, YouTubers? Is everybody feeling alright? This actually sounds good through my headphones. I'm enjoying it so much. I don't want to stop, but when you hear the neighbors screaming in the background, going mad at me for singing a song on a Saturday night. Okay, listen, man. I can't move forward because the mic was there. When people tell you lies and they don't realize the damage that they've done, you gotta carry on. Don't let it break your soul. You're gonna reach your goal. The ones you know are true, they'll never punish you. If you can't stand the heat, hang on. If you can't stand the heat, you gotta hang on. If you can't stand the heat, now you can run and hide and then the suicide. But that's a big mistake. The life's not theirs to take. Oh, let me tell you why. You only have to cry. And as the tears flow, be sure your pain will go. Be sure your pain will go. If you can't stand the heat, hang on. If you can't stand the heat, you better hang on. If you can't stand the heat, hang on. If you can't stand the heat. We better hang on. How about that one? Thanks, Phil. I appreciate that, man. Philip said, you don't do enough acoustic. Beautiful. Man, Phil. Thank you so much. In my American accent, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to do another song for you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to thank my fans out there, all two are watching. I want to thank everybody who's watching. I want to sing a song about my dog called Shep. Right, let's do another one. I've got lots to stop, you see, because it's getting close to midnight. And that was a song called Hang On, by the way, Phil. Yeah, I don't know if you've never heard it before. It's called Hang On. It's for people really at the, on the edge, like, and they might think of bad things, and it's like, hang on, man, let's go, let's keep moving, man. So think of another one. I'm out of tune, you see. Listen to this, right? See if I get a copyright strike. Right. Dream a little dream of me. Okay, well. Right, I just a little test to see if the microphone picks up the guitar nicely without me having to put it near it, like, Sounds good, doesn't it, guys? It's all right. Okay, the neighbours will stop hating me. What do you think of me Prince impersonation? I'm going down to Alphabet Street. I'm gonna crown. If I get a copyright strike for those things, I don't know. It'd be funny, wouldn't it? I usually get a copyright claim, but I don't get, like, blocked. But it gets monetized by somebody else. Phil says smiley face. Okay, now I've made my mind up, you see. I've got a few things to talk about tonight. I don't know when to do a Duke comedy story, right? Because let's see if I can find. I don't know if I gave these photographs to anybody. Let's see if I can find me. Oh man, I don't know how we do this. Photographs. Let me see. Yo, anyone else has joined us? Anyone else watching? I know Phil's out there. Anybody else out there? Come on, make yourself known. Speak now or forever hold your silence. Oh man, guess what, guys? I was 15 stone when I was overweight. I was like, I got to 15 stone. I thought, enough's enough. I've got to stop. And I weighed myself today. I'm 13.2 stone. I can't believe I've nearly lost 2 stone already. I can't believe it. Because I haven't been drinking as much and I haven't been eating crazy stuff like, you know what I mean, avoiding munchies and things. So anyway, I know it's going out there, don't I? I know you can see and hear everything clearly. Let's see if we can get a photograph. What do we do? I don't know what to do. Display capture. Let's see. It's complicated, this. It's very complicated. You know, I don't know if any of you have used OBS Studio, you know, and it's, man, for someone like me, it's like old man mania, you know, I don't know what to do, like, what we do. I know, we're looking for a photograph. Okay, no, it's on the big screen. Right, has that appeared on the screen? Let's have a look. I'll get on with talking in a minute, guys. Yeah, there it is. Okay, let's go. I'm looking for a photograph. Yeah, I'm still on the big screen, aren't I? My face is still on the screen. I'm searching the photographs. I'm trying to work out so I can do these productions perfectly, glitchless, and I can basically show people, you know, pictures while I'm talking and things like that. Right, now where are we going? We're going into my spare hard drive, right? I know I'm a bit slow here, guys. I'm not really saying much, but it is kind of part test and can't, you know, at least I can speak quietly. Hope you can hear me. I'll probably get a bollocking tomorrow because I sang a song, you know what I mean? It's really sad, honestly. This place is just ridiculous. It's like being in jail, you know what I mean? You're just worrying about people complaining and stuff like that, you know. Alright, photographs. I'm looking for a picture of my old man, right? You know, my dad. I might give these pictures to the relatives. I want to talk about a couple of issues with my dad and the dog, maybe, yeah. What about this, folks? What about this for I'll just shrink the screen. Let's get this back on. I'll just shrink my screen, right? Here we go. Bruce is going to shrink into the netherworld. Way, Bruce is shrinking. Yeah, right. This is where it gets interesting. Where I'm going to share some photographs. Okay. All right. Now, let's get back onto this. Well, let's see. Oh, I don't know how to do this, right? Yeah, it's on now, isn't it? It's come up on the front of the screen, hasn't it? Right, so if I go like that, yeah, we're going to be on the full screen, aren't we, right? Okay, now look at this, man. Look at me. I've been doing artwork for the dogs, for number one and a dog. What do you think, guys? What do you think? What do you think of that? Yeah, Phil, I sent you an email before as I was typing. It got the notification that you were live. Oh yeah, I sent you an email before as I was typing. As I was typing it, I got the notification that you were live. Cool, man. Okay. What do you think of the t-shirt? It's like this. I've seen number one on a dog. I don't know what it looks like. If you got a big screen, if you're on a big screen, you could be able to see it. Would you buy one of the? This is merch, guys. This is merch, right? I haven't got to like having them made or anything. Would you buy? You know, I'm trying to think of ways of raising money to buy a new computer instead of asking for donations on PayPal, right? Okay, I'll sell merch instead, right? And there's the first number one on a dog sweatshirt, right? I've seen, see the yellow letter says I've seen, and then in the middle is number one on a dog, Street Tour 2020. Right, I'll show you the close-up of the badge. It's good, isn't it? That's like a test of the t-shirt. That's only on work. Oh, what? Oh, man, I don't know that. Oh, what have I done here, mate? Resize. Oh. Where's that gone down? Where's that? Where's my thing gone? Oh my word, there it is, right, okay. Right, here's the actual logo. Where's the 2020 one? Oh man, there it is. I think this is it. Is this 2020? Look, there's the actual logo. Right. What do you think, guys? Do you think would? What do you think of that? Oh man. Number one on the dog street tour 2020. And I'll probably play like say 3 streets and it'll be over or something, you know what I mean? Probably do like 3 shows in the street and then I'll pack up or probably something and just get it in, you know, film it or something. What do you think? Like, see the superbike and see the robot with the guitar? That's me in the background, you know. Basically, I'm in like a robot suit with a guitar, yeah. And the dog in the foreground is in complete control. He's the controller. He is in control. He's the master. I'm a servant. He's the master. I've seen Number One and a Dog live. That says live in these in the top corner. See, it says live. And I had a brilliant idea. I thought, do you reckon I should? I was going to make stage passes, actually. You know, stage passes, or something that I can sell in the street. You know, and you know, like little stage. But like get a laminator and make stage passes. Or, like, the other idea, you know, what do you think of the logo? It's great. And I'll do a zoom in for you so you can see what I mean with the details, like. Look at that, man. All my own work, like. Number One and a Dog. See the robot? You go really close, look. Go really close to the robot. Right, well, I can only go that far, look. It's like you just see a little face there. Looks like little face looking through like a like a helmet, isn't it? You know what I mean? But that's me design for the logo for the dog. Like, you know, I don't know. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's shit? Do you reckon it's cheesy? Do you reckon it's crap? I don't know. What do you reckon? I don't know if it's got impact. Do you think it's good merch? Anyone, would you buy these? I've got to sell something. I've got to buy a new computer. You know what I mean? I've seen Number One and a Dog. Everyone says like, you might. All you got to do now is get a motorbike, isn't it? I say, look, guys, you don't realise I don't need a motorbike. Duke's got the motorbike already. I don't have to pay for a motorbike. You've got to understand this, guys. I won't buy a vehicle because I don't want to pay tax. I don't want to pay road tax or anything like that. You see. So what I've got to do is I've got to work it around like as though it's like I've got to do it illegally, haven't I? You know what I mean? And Duke's worked it all out. Duke works it all out for me. Like, I haven't got a motorcycle, but Duke has. I haven't got a spaceship, but Duke has. I sound like a lunatic, don't I, man? But I'm very passionate about it, you know. Let's see any others. Here's another one. Look at this. Look at that, mate. The 3D version. I've been working. I mean, just look at the work I've put into. Is that just class or what? Look at the dog in the foreground. It like I'm in control. Is that classy or what? Like, Number One on a Dog. It's still 29. That one. Look, I managed to do 1 gig in the park, didn't I? You know, 1 little performance in Birkenhead Park during 2019. So I still managed to get one in there, didn't I? I did manage to do a performance like in 2019. And then I had to see the way it says 2019, and then I had to go back into my computer as soon as it turned 2020. You know, I had to redo it and do this. You know what I mean? But look, this, man, look how like mad I've been, like doing tests. Look, different lighting, right? If you want, you know, if people were buying a T-shirt, you know, or some merch like T-shirts, you know what I mean, and I'll do some like kinky knickers for the ladies, you know what I mean? Picture of me head. I've seen Number One on a Dog. Look at the colours. See, that one's like sort of Minecraft colour scheme, that one. That's for the Minecraft fans, right? Bit lighter, bit more comfortable at nighter. See all the different colours I'm trying for the T-shirts, you know. I'm really working hard, but all these still say 2019, so they're all out of date, you know. You can find these in the charity shops now. 2019. But yeah, there's a close-up of the robot. Close-up of the robot, look. Look, there he is, man. Oh, man, I think I'm quite proud of it, like. What do you think, man? It's quite technical, isn't it, you know? So I am doing my best to sell the brand. I was thinking of going on Dragon's Den, you know. You know what I mean? Rooftop gigs to avoid the lockdowns is right, mate. If I don't catch the comments, Phil, I've got to scroll down and up to check, you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, rooftop gigs to avoid the lockdowns. We're going to get it. We're going to break the lockdowns. I'm going to Anfield, actually. I'm going to do a gig outside Anfield, like, you know what I mean? To celebrate, like. If they let me in and I can do a gig inside, that'll be fantastic, wouldn't it? Live at Anfield, no people in the crowd. Just like me, that, wouldn't it? Get to Anfield and no one's there, like. You see, and there you go. There's all the logos. Look at that one. There's imagine these on t-shirts. There's the Dog Skeets MC. See, this is the original. See, the motorcycle club, Dog Skeets Motorcycle Club. You see, that's like our, you know, like the Hells Angels, but Dog Skeets. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm telling you now, Duke the dog is way more naughty than any Hells Angel. I'll tell you that for nothing. You know what I mean? You can't, you know, no one can match Duke, mate. He's naughty, mate. And so he should be, because he's a mad dog. There he is there. There's the real Duke now. Like, that's what he looks like now. That's you know, that's the actual Duke there. Oh, man. There we go. Right, it's okay. So I'll just go through them, like. And I'll show you, like, I've got a great little picture. I don't know if I gave copies of these pictures to everyone. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, I'm looking for... Let's see what we're looking for. Come on, Bruce. Come on. Photos. Right. Right, and then I look for archive photos, right? This gets funny, everyone. This is like, yeah, look at this. Well, you've all got these. Wow, fucking, pardon me French, like, but what a horrible looking kid I was, man. Fucking, oh man, sorry for the swearing, guys. Like, look at the bags under my eyes, man. This is the best one. Right, here we go. Look at this. Hey, this is. Oh my word. Oh dear, I'll get that off before anyone like absolutely unsubs me channel, like. Thinks, oh man, is that Bruce? No way. Look at Wendy holding onto my shoulders. Oh man. Let's leave them photos, right? And let's go to what am I looking for? I think it says mum, dad, something. Where are we? Yeah, right. Alright, this is some comical ones. Look at this one, guys. This is one of the funniest. You've probably seen this. I'm on a hand this. Look at this, guys. This is a good one, like. Look, this is a newspaper headline. Right? Children trapped in high-rise flat. Oh man, children trapped in high-rise flat. Let's see if I can read it. The conditions and lack of... I'll do it like the news, all right, guys. That's me there, guys. Anyone watching who doesn't know me, you're off family, or you just like I'll see read the comments. Phil's laughing. Children trapped in high-rise flats. I'll do it like a newsreader. Watch, man. If I can read the letters, listen, right. The conditions and lack of service staff at Birkenhead's high-rise flats was highlighted on Sunday when 2 children were trapped in a lift at Victoria Court, Birkenhead. 8-year-old Philip Fury of Victoria Court and his playmate Bruce Williams, who lives in a masonette block nearby, were freed by firemen from the lift, jammed between the 10th and 11th floors. But the rescue operation was... the rescue operation. But the rescue operation was hampered. The janitor, whose responsibility it is to report faults in the building, moved to another block 3 weeks ago. And since then, the lifts have been going wrong, and the residents have had no custodian, says Mrs. Sheila Fury, Philip's mother. Philip's mother. This is crazy, and I didn't think, oh, we've got 4 people watching. There's actually 4 people watching, folks. We're a real record tonight. I've broke a world record, a YouTube record. I've got 4 people watching live. I can't believe it, right? Okay, let's carry on reading. Ah, man. It was left to a resident to raise the alarm, and when the emergency services arrived, they found the safety equipment used to wind up the cage was out of order. Firemen forced the doors on the 11th floor, and the boys were pulled through a small gap by a policeman. The lift has a history of troubles. 8 people were trapped at Christmas on the ground floor, and they even eventually forced the door themselves. 8 people in the lift. What was going on there? Was it an orgy or something? Though Mrs. Fury says she can't complain at the standard of the maintenance, she blames the lack of a janitor for the accident. If there had only been a man on duty here to report the faulty lift, this would never have happened, she said. And then it goes on to other things, and right, but like, isn't that hilarious, guys? It was out that I was like about 8 years old there, right? I'm 8 years old, like, and they made us do that, they made us put our arms around each other for the photograph. It looks a bit shady, but we're only 8. But he was my friend. His name was Philip. I used to hang around with him. He was sound, like. He was one of my best buddies, man. All right, let's go. I hope everyone enjoyed that one. Like a little bit of a tip. Yo, Julie's on board. Julie. Yo, Bruce. Yo, Juliet. Yo, Phil's going, yo, Juliet. Julie's going, yo, Bruce. Yo, Julie. Yo, Phil. Yo, everybody. Yeah, we might have a... Look, Jill, children trapped in a high-rise flat. I'm sharing this with... Remember, we've all seen this, but the YouTubers who... Right. I've got 4 viewers. Well, man, let's see. Let's go back to some more vintage photographs, right, folks? This is the one we're looking for. Look, I think you've all got a copy of these photos, you know what I mean? But in particular, where's the one of me dad? Here you are, Julie. Look at this. There's Julie. I've got to see Julie's reaction. What do you think of that? Dead dramatic. Lol. Julie said, yo, lol. Do you remember that picture? Walk like an Egyptian, isn't it? Walk like an Egyptian. Look at your face, Julie. Look, I'll zoom in, look. Look at your face. Is this brilliant or what? This is better than the telly, isn't it? Rare photo in uniform, Julie said. The orange couch. Oh man, the orange couch that my dad made and the orange lampshade. Hey, my dad made a brand new armchair with them chairs, didn't he? Okay, let's go back to another picture. Look at this. Is anybody watching this who's from YouTube that's not relatives? That's me when I was about... That was how old was I there? I think I was 8. I think I was 8 years old there. Look at the state of me. Oh man, this is for you. Because I'm sure my YouTubers, you know, me subscribers who don't actually know me, I'm sure they'll find this hilarious. I don't know. Just leave it on for any, you know, if there's any women watching, you know what I mean? Any me female fans out there watching, like, I'll leave it on a little bit longer for you in case you like, you know, you want to see a little bit more of it, like. Hey, all right, next one, look at this, here we go. Look at this one. Memory lane, this isn't it? There's a rare photograph of the Reinforcements actually together when Reinforcements were a band. That's a very rare photograph. Oh man, so funny, mate. Let's keep going. Let's look at some more photographs. Hey, this is cool. This photo. Memory Lane, that's the band, Reinforcements. We'll never get back together. Sad. The bad news is Reinforcements will never reform as an original lineup ever again. It's all over, folks. We were more short-lived than the Beatles. Do you know what I mean? Or even the Sex Pistols had a longer time than us, didn't they? You know what I mean? Look at that man, look like a potato. Okay, here's the pictures that count at the moment. Well, you can probably... There we go. This is Duke. This is Duke and me dad. This is the dog, folks. Look at that dog. Look at how fine he was. There he is, man. I'll zoom in. Zoom in, look. But what a dog, mate, eh? Is he a nuclear dog or what, mate? You see how fine he is? Hey, what a dog. Hey, what a dog. Look at that. It's all about you tonight, mate. It's all about Duke. Bruce, tell a story about the dog. Pound Rescue. Wow. I was saving that one, Jewel, right? I was going to, I'm starting in chronological order, right? The dog Pound, you see, because my dad actually rescued that dog from a dog's home, believe it or not. But we're going to save that story for later, right? I'm saving that one for later, Jewel, because it's like an epic, you know, and when he was in the paper, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the life story of Duke, you see. I want people to realise why number one and a dog is so substantial to me, right? Okay, let's zoom at my dad's face. Look at my dad's face. Look at my dad. I've got a whole, literally like an epic saga, like stories of Duke, you know what I mean? I've already posted the story of when he stole chickens for me, right? Another one, I posted the story of Oh, what was the other long story I did about Duke? Oh man, it's out there. I put them out, like, you know what I mean. I'm trying my best to, like, he's like a selfish dog. He wants everyone to worship him. You see, and so I'm only obliging. I'm just a servant. Duke's the master. That's the way I see it. Like, look at how nice that garden was. Well, see in the background there. You notice that in the background? You know, the next door neighbour, Norman. Look, Norman's there doing his garden there. Both of these men are on the other side, by the way, now. Right, okay, next picture of Johnny and Duke. Duke and Johnny. Oh, that was it. The story of when Duke proved he could control me dad. And have you seen it, Duke? It's on YouTube. I talk about, like, when Duke could control me dad to come downstairs in his sleep to prove that he could control people, you know what I mean? That's on YouTube, right? It's something to do with, can animals control people or something? Right, okay, here's the other one. Look, here's the same. Here's another one. The same. Looking back the other way. You've seen this one? Oh, that speech. Okay. And there we go. Look, he looks happy there now, mate. Look, my dad looks actually happy, look. My dad looks happy. He's like, Duke's like thinking, Johnny's happy. My dad... Duke used to call me dad Johnny. Do you understand? Me dad, when I'd be talking to Duke about that, I'd be like, yeah, Johnny this, Johnny that. That's what Duke called me dad Johnny, you know what I mean? He didn't call him dad, he called him Johnny. But look, there's me dad there, right, smiling. Right, proper happy in that, like. Right, so go back down to the dog. Look at the dog, mate. He's laughing his head off, mate. He's actually having a laugh attack. I mean, can you see, like, his chest is like a oh man. So I was going to get into the story, like, in chronological order, you see. I've got a lot of tales to talk about. Right. Well, isn't that a cool photo? It's quite comical in a way, like, isn't it? You know, it's like the garden's all nice and tidy, you know what I mean? That back in the day, like. Now I know, John definitely is Tarzan, isn't he? Because the garden's a jungle now. Do you know what I mean? He is Tarzan, isn't he? John said they used to call him Tarzan in Thingwall Hospital, right? And I'm like, that makes sense, doesn't it? Like, because you've got a jungle there. To see where that garden is now, where they are there. That's just completely jungle now, you know what I mean? The shed's like, you know, when they found those old Mayan temples in Mexico and that, like, all covered in trees and that, like, it's like that, you know what I mean? You've got to get, like, Indiana Jones to go into the shed. It's terrible, it's scary, there's spiders everywhere. Right, but let's see, hey, what do you think of this? Hey, Phil, if you're still watching, what do you think of this for a lookalike, right, Phil? This is someone, right? I was checking out, like, you know what, the ship that my old man used to be on in the Navy, the Alfred. And this guy was actually on the Alfred, and he's nothing to do with us or anything like that, like. But I found this, you know, he's a Canadian, his family live in Canada or something now, and he was on the Alfred, this fella, and I don't know if he knew me dad. Can't remember his name now. Oh, his actual second name is Phillips, believe it or not. What do you think of that for lookalike? I don't, like, he reminded me of you, actually. You know, his name's something Phillips, strangely enough, and he was on my dad's ship. He probably knew me dad, I don't know. Isn't that crazy? I mean, his folks were in Canada or something, or his family, his kids or something, his sons and daughters were in Canada, and they posted it up about the Elfrida, you know what I mean? It's very rare to find any information about it, you know what I mean? The ship, like. You know, my dad's favourite ship at sea. I'll show you a picture of it. I've just probably all got these pictures, like, there's one of my old man's ships there, like, you know, he was in the Royal Navy, my old man, right? Okay, well, let's do, before we talk about you, let's do a little bit of interesting talk about me. I've got some interesting things to show. Anyone who's into naval history or anything like that, right? Bruce's Independent Navy is an independent organisation and in no way affiliated with the Royal Navy. Can't see it, he's a handsome fella. Oh, come on, Phil. I know what it's like, you trying to fight the women off. You can't kid me, mate. I've seen you in the pub, mate. All these women all like... I don't mean that like, derogatively, like. They all seem to be like, they know you're a star, mate. Okay. He actually looks a bit like, I tell you, he reminds me of. I'll put it back up. Stuart Adamson out of remember the band, the Skids? Look, Phil's going, shh. I don't mean, like I say, I don't mean that dodgy, mate. You know what I mean? I mean, like the way, what it's like when they walk past and they stare at people and stuff, They look at Phil and say, what's he doing standing next to that tramp? And he's like, that's my Uncle Bruce, you cheeky bastards. That tramp. All right. Stuart Adamson out of the Skids. The guitarist, he was in Big Country, Looks a bit like him, don't he? Here's a good one. This is me when I was in the cricket team. I was a cricket player. I used to play cricket as well as football, right? Here's me at the end. Can you spot me? Let's just zoom in, like. Look at me. Watch the face. Look at the face on me, mate. Look at me face. I'm like, you think I was posing for some kind of like, like a mugshot in Jesse James's day or something. I'm like, look at the face on me. And remember that day, right? You see the way my shirt isn't even a proper cricket shirt. I had to borrow it off someone because I didn't have a white shirt on that day. Like, they said, we're having a photograph, right? We're taking photos of the cricket team today, you know what I mean? I didn't even have a white shirt, you know what I mean? So I had to borrow that shirt off another lad. I had a t-shirt on underneath it, right? And you see the way it's got like checkered squares on it and stuff, like. It's not a proper cricket shirt, right? But look at the state of me trainees, mate. This is how destitute I was. The pumps. Look at me baseball boots. You can just see one of them, like. It's literally falling off my feet, you know what I mean? Well, it's falling off my foot. You see, it's like Laurel and Hardy or something, isn't it? It's like something you see in like the, the Great Depression or something, my shoes there, like. The baseball boots, but they were like literally falling apart, like, Philly's like, never. All right. Look, man, that kid there, he was the trendiest kid in the school at the time. You can tell by how wide his pants are. Look how wide them pants are. They're like wider than the River Mersey, aren't they? Look at this. Look at them. See, he was always the first kid that got the, like platform shoes or whatever, like at the time. Like, you can see my pants are relatively modestly, they're not proper flares. I wasn't fashionable then, you know what I mean? I was a bit of a woolly back there, right? And you can see his kecks there, they're like proper flares, aren't they? You know, like the real flares, like. I wonder if anyone's watching this and they've seen themselves in that picture. They go, wow, it's man. There's Nelly there, Paul Nelson. He's an old friend from donkeys ago. I can name every one of these kids, by the way, like, you know what I mean? But I don't, that's the teacher, Mr. Shardlow. Julie to remember Mr. Shardlow. Shadrach, we used to call him. Shadrach, isn't he? He's in the Bible, in the book of Daniel, isn't he? He's standing right behind me, like, Shadrach. All right, what else we got? We can show, okay. I'll move away from the photographs. I just had to show pictures of my dad and Duke, right? And let's get back out to the. Okay, so this is what we want to do. We want to talk about. This is what we want to talk about. This is the fella. This is the mad lad, right? you know, the mad dog. And my first story, this is what I'll just do this little story, and because it's late, I'll get off, right? I'll do something else that maybe tomorrow or something, right? And I'll do like a marathon, right? It takes me a while to get into the mood for doing these like things, because wow, it's like being on telly, isn't it? It's weird. You got but like you know, you say your telephone voice or your performance like mode. You know, it's like, it's weird. You know, I like this picture. You've all got this picture probably. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, but that's me mum. There's me mum there at Bidston Hill. This is proof we are real deal Baconians from the Wirral. You know, we're not like, you know, Russian agents or nothing. You know what I mean? That's me mum when she was a kid at Bidston Hill. Windmill. Great, isn't it, you know? Good little picture, that, eh? That's me mag. Okay. Oh, here's another one. Oh, Wendy sent this one, didn't she, to us, which is kind of cool. Like, look, this has got, like, there's me there. There's Wendy there. There's John. And there's Julie. All four of us in the same picture. Mum, Dad, Nan, Auntie, Grandad, Auntie, and Uncle. Don't know who that one is there, just out the picture, like. Yeah, crazy, innit, man? Look at the state of me little me anorak zipped up to the right up to the neck. You know what I mean? Anorak zipped up. Okay, right. Now I'm gonna go back to me. I've just showed you that picture of the dog and Duke. I think it's quite funny, really. My dad and the dog, right? Now, first story about Duke, right? I think I miss her too. Hey, they're all out there somewhere. You know what I mean? Everlasting life is the way I put it, Phil. You know what I mean? Okay. My story about Duke. I think this is the beginning of Duke's problems, right? He was a good dog, but he was mad because he had excuses, right? Okay, anyone? How many people are watching? Any you know, because we're talking about still 4 people watching, right? Okay. Yeah, Duke. Right, when Duke was a little puppy, he was only a little puppy, right? He was only, you know, he wasn't like a tiny puppy. He was like he was still a puppy, but he was sort of growing up a little bit, right? And he was active and he was running around and he was quite friendly. And remember, in the early days, before he went mad, he was kind of cool, wasn't he? A bit like me, really, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Before I went mad. I was a different person, you know. But anyway, one night, my dad come in from the pub, right? Duke was only young, right? Duke was only young. He was only a little puppy. My dad come in from the pub, right? And it was one of those rare occasions when my alman had been, someone might have given him a whiskey or something, yeah, or a vodka or something. So, you know, like when we were talking last night, Julie mentioned about him falling off behind the sofa and crashing into the swing. Well, it was just one of those nights, right? He come in really bevy, like, right? And to me memory, I don't know if Julie was there. I'm sure it was just, I think it was me, Blano, you know, Andy, and my mum. We're in the living room, right? And the dog, obviously. So my mum was there, right? And my dad comes in from the pub and he's so drunk, unusually, you know what I mean? Like a rare occasion when my dad was really drunk, like, you know, as I say, he probably had a whiskey or something, I don't know, on top of the beers or whatever. And you know what I'm going to say, I was thinking about this today, right? See, Julie knows what I'm talking about. So you weren't there as far, I'm correct on it, there was me mum, Blano and me. And my dad walks in and he was so drunk, right, instead of just sitting on the chair, he sort of sat on the floor in front of the fireplace, you know what I mean, in the middle, you know, in front of all the chairs and that kind of thing in the living room. He just sat on the floor and we were all, you know, mum was going, oh my word, he's had a bit too much, hasn't he? Someone's given him a whiskey or something, you know. And he's, you know, he's off his head. So he was on the floor quietly contemplating, you know, thinking, you know, the way you should just like sit on the floor silently, he's like, right. And the dog comes into the living room and sees me dad on the floor, and you know the way little puppies get excited and they jump on your head and that, like. if Blaine watches this, you know, I don't know if he's watching now or whatever, but if he sees this, I was wondering if he remembers it, you see, because Blaine, you know, he says he hasn't got a good memory, but I think he has, to be honest. Right, anyway, the dog comes in and he sees my dad sitting on the floor, and you know the way dogs are really excited and they just jump all over you know what I mean? And he was jumping all over my dad, and my dad was just going, you know, imagine an old man, sort of, well, not a sort of middle-aged man sitting on the floor, and the dog is kind of jumping all over his head, dead excited. And my mum's sort of going, hey, Duke, stop that, you know what I mean? Like, trying to stop him just by saying stop, and we're all going, Duke, what are you doing? And my dad's going, get off, will you? Right, he says, get off, will you? And the dog carries on jumping on his head, and jumping all over him, and just dead happy in that, like, you know what I mean? And he goes, he's sort of losing his temper slowly, do you know what I mean? Because he's pissed, right? He doesn't remember being on TV AM, Bruce. Oh my word, he should do, shouldn't he? Wow, I'm sure he will. Right, anyway, the dog is jumping on his head and he goes, get off, will you? Like that, right? And he carries on, and he's only being friendly, you know what I mean, right? And remember, he's a little puppy, he's kind of, I don't know, he's about that tall, you know what I mean? Little excited black and white dog jumping all over this man's head, and his hair was all messy and everything, like, right? And he goes, get flipping off, will you? He's losing his temper slowly. And he carried on jumping all over his head, right? And we were just sitting, me and Andy were standing back, kind of saying, oh, Duke, you know what I mean? Just saying it to him, like. And then my dad just loses his rag, and just grabs the dog's leg by the throat, pins him to the floor right next to him. And you know, like when you talk, he was punching, you know, like in syncopation with his words. He went, I've got to swear to show, like, what you swear to show what he actually said. Like, he goes, I fucking said, get fucking off. And with every syllable, he punched the dog in the head, like, violently. He punched his head about 5 times with whatever he was saying, you know what I mean? Like, and we were looking like horrified, thinking, oh my word. He'd actually pinned him to the ground and he was punching his head in, right, you know what I mean? And we were like, oh my word. And then he let go of the dog, right? And the dog carried on jumping on him. And we had to grab the dog then, you know, thinking, you know, oh my word. The dog was still actually buzzing off him and jumping off him, even though he'd just been punching his head in. Right. Now, I don't know, if I was a dog and that happened to me, they'd probably put some kind of crazy, like, ooh, better not be like that again, you know, like, too friendly and that, right? Whereas the way he done is syncopated, he's like, fucking shit. He punched, it was quite a hard punch, you know what I mean? Right? I only have to think about that, right? And I start laughing my head off because I'd never seen anything like that anywhere else, right? But I did ask Blaine once. I said, "Do you remember when my dad punched the dog's head?" And then he was like, "I'm not too sure." Like, I was thinking, "Oh man, you got to remember that, like, you know what I mean?" Because tell the story about when Dad was singing yesterday. I will another time, Jewel. I'll do that, like, because I want to stay on the theme of Duke. You know what I mean? I'll do the mum and dad thing on another theme. I wanted to tell you another thing about the dog. And I don't know if you know about this one, right? And this is later on, right? So you can imagine what that done to Duke's head. There's already something. I mean, I've never seen any dog get punched that much, like, and still be happy. He was still, he's still wagging his tail and stuff. Right. But anyway, later on, years later, right? This is another story, right? Years later, when we were living in Bromberry, he come in drunk. This was like whenever my dad was bevied, that dog seemed to have it's like he knew he was bevied, you know what I mean? But anyway, in this case, it was kind of like my dad kind of, I don't know what got into him, I haven't got a clue, right, guys? He comes in, he sits down, Campbell in the can, yeah, Duke's balls. Campbell. He balls to meet the short of weed. Anyway, my dad come in from the pub, right? He'd had a bevy in the afternoon, right? And he come in. This was in Bromborough, and this is when Duke was like, you know, he'd become like I don't know, like the mysterious wolf that no one could conquer. You know what I mean? He'd gone way beyond everything, right? I'm skipping the Life Fantastic and going right into the later days, right? Leading up to the end of Duke, you know what I mean? But like, he comes in, he sits down, right, and he's looking at the telly, my dad. And Duke's in the hallway, you know, when he was forced to sleep in the hallway and that, right? And he's asleep, just minding his own business, right? My dad's sitting down, watching the telly and that, and then he goes, and I don't know what got into him, I haven't got a clue. If anyone can explain this, like, I don't know where it came from. And he goes, that dog needs to have his claws clipped. Right, now we know, right, that dog was so wild and mad, he didn't have any needles or nothing, did he, you know what I mean? I mean, most of our dogs, they just died, didn't they, because we didn't give them the shots and everything, like, you know, they all kind of went mad or died or whatever, you know what I mean? But Duke survived everything, didn't he? He even survived my dad punching his head in and that, like, right. Later on, my dad's sitting there, he's saying, that dog needs his claws clipped. You know the way everyone takes the poodles and everything to parlours to get them clipped and all that? It's like, but Duke somehow looked after his own claws and everything, didn't he? He did everything himself. None of us preened him. He didn't have to take him to one of them, what do you call them places where you take dogs to be you know, preened and everything, like? Dog parlour. We didn't have to take him to the dog parlour, did we? He sorted himself out, didn't he, right? But anyway, for some strange reason, my dad got it into his head that he had to cut the dog's claws, right? And I was like, look, man, he doesn't need his claws cut, Dad. I was actually, I tried to warn him, basically. I was saying, look, Dad, you don't want to be doing anything silly, you know, and dangerous like that, like, because, you know, Duke would not want anyone to cut his claws. It's as simple as that, right? And he goes, well, I'm going to do it because he flipping needs them cutting. I'm going to do it, right? And I was like, oh, he can't be. I thought he was joking. I thought he wasn't going to do it, obviously. I thought, he's not serious, is he, right? Next thing, he gets a pair of pliers, right? You know, pliers. You know the bit on pliers that's like a blade? You know, the way you apply, you know, proper pliers, like, they've got like a little blade part on them, haven't they, for like snipping like rods of metal and things, you know what I mean? And he gets a pair of pliers and he goes, I'll flipping do it now. Right. There was only my mum. My mum was there and I was there. And the dog, obviously. So he gets up with these pair of pliers and I didn't think he'd even try and do it. And I actually told him a few times, I was like, Dad, you don't want to do that, you know, he'll go mad, you know. And he's going, don't be stupid, he'll be all right. Right. And I was like, basically, you know, when you put your fingers in your ears and close your eyes, like they do in the cartoons, you go that, like, you know, I was sitting in the living room, I didn't even want to look. I was like, oh man, he's not going to do it, is he? Surely not, like. And my mum was like, sort of like looking at me, dead worried, like, you know what I mean? And she went out with him into the back room as if, like, you know, to sort of monitor in case everything was, you know, to make sure everything's okay. Because my dad wasn't listening to any of us, you know what I mean? I think my mum was saying, like, you don't want to be doing that. What are you going to do that for? He's all right. He must have done that on the floor, mustn't he, Duke? He must have gone, you know, scratched his claws on the floor and kept them preened himself. He was like the only dog that looked after himself, wasn't he? All he needed was feeding and a shelter, wasn't it? You know what I mean? He did everything himself, didn't he? Anyway, I'm sitting on the chair in the living room thinking, oh no, he's not going to do it, is he? And I could hear him going, yeah, I'll be doing it. There's footsteps going into the back and that, like, and I was kind of like that, like thinking, I don't even want to hear this, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, hearing the dog going like, oh, that's what I was expecting to hear. You know what I mean? I was expecting to hear the dog howling in pain. Because I'm sure if you clip a dog's claws with a pair of pliers, they're going to feel it, aren't they? Right. So, my mum must have been watching over them. You know, she had, you know, where the back door is at the kitchen door and looking in the hallway. She must have been just watching him, like, you know, watching my dad attempt to cut his claws. You know what I mean? So my dad goes up to him, like, with the claws and that. I can only hear it, remember? I can't see nothing. I didn't even want to look. I was like, I'm not looking at this, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sitting there like that, thinking, like, and it was like silence, you know, like a silence while he was going up towards him with the pliers and that, like. And then next thing, he just stared like, well, you know, if you imagine a dog being at its most monstrous You know, the sound of a dog. You know, when they sort of, you know, when they're about to have a fight with another dog or something like that, when they go, like, mad. You know what we call mad. And I just heard, you know, for the mic, I don't want to do it too loud. It was like, like this, like, horrid noise, right? And then you heard me dad's voice going, and like actually screaming. You know what's funny? At the end of all of this, my dad still wanted him back, didn't he? You know what I mean? Right. So he goes, you just heard, my mum had to sort of pull him away, apparently, right? My mum's... Apparently, he got, like, as far as, like, you know, the Duke let him get close to him and actually let him start, like, he let him, like, literally put the thing in the pliers. My mum told me, mum was watching everything, right? She said, he got hold of his foot, he had the claw in the pliers, and as soon as the blade started making contact with the thing, you know, when my dad was sort of like, I'll cut it now, you know what I mean? He just leaped at him, right? He just charged me own arm, man. Well, it's like the dog's master, really, isn't he? You know, the dad's the master of the house, isn't he? You know what I mean? He pushed me dad to the floor, right? My mum said he charged him right down the hallway to the other end, kind of thing. Pushed him to the floor violently, right? Right, and here's the funny part. She said, and to get him back, as if to say, see how it feels, right? He actually got hold of my dad's shoe, you know, his foot with his teeth, and started going. If you imagine that's my dad's shoe, or, you know, on his foot, he had it in his mouth going, like ragging his shoe, as if to say to him, see how you like it, see how, and he was biting his toe apparently through his shoe. He actually targeted his toe. Right, and he proper, man, my dad come in like going, I can't believe he fucking attacked me, he's gonna kill me. It's like, my mum come in, right, and you know my mum, she was trying not to laugh. My mum was actually, she was serious, she was looking at, my dad was dead serious, like going, he's gonna fucking kill me, right. But my mum was like, she was looking down at me like that, like with him, you know, like she was actually trying not to laugh, like, you know what I mean? She was like trying to keep serious, like, and then he walked out the room. I don't know what he went to do, like, and she went, he actually grabbed hold of his toe, and he was like, he grabbed hold of his toe, and he was shaking his foot like that, going, see how you like it, see how you like it. Right. I mean, what do you think, guys? I mean, I'll tell you what, if anyone would have offered me £1 million, you know, if you'd have offered me £1 million, say, Bruce, I'll give you £1 million if you cut that dog's claws with a pair of pliers, I'd say, there's no way I'm risking that, mate, you know what I mean? Because he was like a powerhouse, you've seen that, I just showed you the pictures of him. You can see how big he was. He was quite a beefy dog, wasn't he, you know what I mean? Right, so, which brings me to another story. I'll string a couple along, you know, on a couple of stories together, like, just because I'm trying to get as many out the way as possible. I'm trying to get you the big picture. No way. So didn't you know about that, Jewel? Haven't I told you about that? My mum was actually trying not to laugh. And he still loved the dog, didn't he? Didn't you know about that, Jewel? Ripping his toe. Right. That's why I'm showing the pictures. But number one, I knew, but no way would anyone in their right mind attempt it. Right. Okay. Him going for his toes, crazy though, isn't it? Right. And another story. You probably know about this. Like, he used to come in from the pub. If he had a bevy, he came in kind of late. It was my dad that usually took the dog for walks until I adopted him as my best friend, right, guys? This is the breakthrough. I adopted him kind of thing as my best buddy, because I didn't have no friends at the time, you know what I mean? That was like that could sort of hang out with and talk to proper, like, because I was off my head, wasn't I, right? So I turned to the dog as my solace and that, like. And we became best friends. And after that, I let him sleep in my room and everything, you know what I mean? I gave him a comfy little sofa and everything. Changed the world. It like opened doors in the world, you know. But just before all that, it was my dad that took him for walks and things like that, right? I'll try and jam them all in, all the Duke stories here, right? He comes in from the pub and he was quite bevied, my dad, right? Quite bevied. And his usual routine is, say it would be about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I don't know. If he come in and if he couldn't go out, he'd take the dog, he'd put the dog on a lead and take him into the garden, wouldn't he? You know, back into the back garden, right? And we'd just be watching, me and my mum were watching the telly in the living room, right? And he come in and he was quite bevied, right? He was quite bevied, and everyone should know that dog never stopped pulling on the lead. You know what I mean? He'd put, but if you attached him, if you tied that dog to like a chieftain tank or something, he'd be able to pull it probably. You know what I mean? He was a powerhouse, wasn't he? So you can imagine what he was like with my dad. He was quite frail and he was, you know, he was getting on a bit, wasn't he? You know what I mean? That's why I had to take over eventually, because it was just no way my dad could handle him anymore, basically, as well. So it was a bit of both. It was like I had to take over, and I needed the best friend, if you know what I mean. He was just a dog up before then, wasn't he? None of us even cared, did we really? He was just a dog. None of us gave him any attention. We just fed him, and we didn't really care, did we? None of us cared about him. It wasn't a big deal to us, was he? When he became like my best friend, you know, it was a new world, right? And anyway, he comes in one day, my dad, bevied, and he's saying, I'll take the dog round the garden instead of taking him out, you know. So he puts the lead on him and he goes out into the garden as he normally did, right? And he's quite drunk, you see. He's had a few bevies, like. And me and my mum are sitting there watching the telly, right? And we didn't think, it was about half an hour had gone by, right? About half an hour had gone by. And he still hadn't come back in with the dog. Right, so we're sitting there, right? We didn't even think. We thought like maybe my dad wants to sit in the, you know, I don't know. I don't know what. You know, we didn't even think that. Hold on, it's been about half an hour or something, hasn't it? You know, none of us actually, you know, me and my mum didn't actually think about it, like. So we were sitting there watching the telly, like, and it was like silence, you know, the atmosphere, TV, you know, TV rules in the living room. And I'm sitting there like that, and then my mum looks at me and she goes, "He's been out there a long time, hasn't he?" I was like, yeah, hey, you're right, you know, Mum, he has, hasn't he? So she thought, like, oh my word, something might have happened. Do you know what I mean? So my mum sort of jumped up and walked out, you know, to go and find him. Right. And next thing, I could hear him coming in. You go, couldn't you hear me? Couldn't you hear me? You know, like, as he was coming back into the living room with my mum. And my mum was going, we didn't know, we thought you were like, you know, and I was thinking, what's happened? Like, he was only in the garden, it couldn't have been that bad, you know what I mean? Right, next thing, the living room door opens, and in walks my dad with my mum. The dog's been put back in the hallway, back in his cage, like, you know what I mean, back into the safety house, you know. And my dad walks in and he was wearing a white shirt, you know, like a white shirt. He took his coat off and he was wearing a white shirt when he went out. And if you imagine a white shirt, right, with like dots of blood all over it. Do you know what I mean? like little tiny holes all over the shirt, all over his arms. Like, imagine a white shirt with little dots of blood all over it, right? And I was looking at him thinking, oh my word, what has happened to me dad? What's the dog done to him? I was thinking the dog had done something to him, ravaged him or something, like, you know what I mean? And my mum goes, he was in the rose tree. The dog had dragged him into a rose tree, right? And he didn't let go of the lead, you know what I mean? He didn't let go of the lead because he didn't want him to escape and disappear into everyone's gardens, yeah. So for half an hour, right? For half an hour, my dad was like literally hanging in the rose tree, you know, like, I don't know what position he was in, whether he was forward or whatever. I think my mum said he was on his back, suspended in the tree, right? But he still had hold of the lead. A rose tree with thorns, you know, the big rose tree in the garden. He was in the rose tree with the thorns all like stuck in his shirt. Yeah, actually, he was actually being pierced by thorns, right? And if you imagine, my mum said that he had hold of the lead, so he wouldn't let go of the lead, you see, right? And my mum said he was on his back in the tree going, help, help. He was actually, we couldn't hear him because the doors are shut, aren't they? You know the way the doors are, our garden and everything from the front room. You couldn't hear anything, right? And my mum said he was in the tree shouting, help, help, right? And you imagine the dog on the lead still trying to run away, in all directions. So if you imagine a man in a tree like that, like hanging, like, and the dog's kind of pulling him like that, like, so he was literally being like pierced by thorns in all directions from a rose tree, right? And the dog's still pulling him all over the place, because he was in the tree. Like, it must have been like really bad, like, but we didn't know, did we? We didn't think, because we just completely forgot. But who would have thought, like, he's hanging in a tree, the dog's pulling him all over the show, right? And then we bring him in, and that's why, that's what the dots of, red dots all over his shirt, right? All these red dots on his shirt. It actually, I mean, it wasn't funny at the time. We were quite serious, but looking back on it, Duke's comedy, he's ruthless, wasn't he? Right? Now, even after that, right, my dad still loved that dog, right? It's funny. When he was in the dog's home, he still wanted him back, didn't he? It was like, I could understand him. My dad would have said, like, we don't want him back, but it wasn't like that, was it? He still buzzed off him no matter what. Now, what kind of quality did that dog have for me dad to think like that, even after being dragged into a rose tree, man? Like a massive rose tree, isn't it? You know what I mean? Right. I don't know. Number one on the dog, innit, mate? Got to write the song about... Well, I've wrote a song about... Wow, free watching now. One's got off, right? Okay, and the final story... This isn't like the end. This is the last story for tonight. This is my favourite one. This is my favourite story about Duke, right? My dad comes in again. It was in the afternoon. This was like in the early afternoon, right? Slightly bevied. Decides to take the dog into the woods for a walk. Right? And he disappears. He had his coat on and everything. My dad had his jacket on and everything, like. And he takes the dog into the woods, in Bromborough Woods. And he's gone for quite a while, yeah, right? Because he was bevied again, you see. When you... Man, it's like don't drink and drive, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like don't drink and drive, and don't try walking around with a dog like Duke on a lead while you're drunk, you know what I mean? It'd be impossible, wouldn't it? I never tried it, man. I would never take that dog out while I was bevied, you know what I mean? I'd have to be straight to keep an eye on him, keep up with him, like. Well, this time, my dad walks out into the woods and disappears, right? And I'm watching the telly, whatever, the usual business, whatever next, innit, right? Next thing, there's a knock on the door, right? There's a knock on the door. It was he'd been gone for about an hour or something, right? And knock on the door. It's one of my friends from Bromborough, right? It's one of my friends from Bromborough. And he's standing on the doorstep, right? And he was really serious, right? And he goes, Bruce. He goes, Bruce, I've just seen your dad in the woods there, mate. And the dog's like dragging him round. He's lying on the... He said my arm was lying on the floor. Like, the dog, he was still holding on to the lead, right? He was still holding on to the lead. My dad was still holding on to the lead. And the dog was dragging him all over the woods. Just like... He was dragging him all over the place in the woods, like that, like when you see in the westerns, when you see a man who falls off a horse and then he carries on taking him everywhere, it's like along on the floor. When the cowboys fall off the horse and they're still attached to the reins or something and it drags them everywhere. My mate was going, the dog's running around the woods, man, and he's like dragging your dad everywhere, like, because they couldn't go to him, could he? He couldn't risk going up to it because he might have thought the dog would attack him, you know what I mean? And apparently Duke was running around like a nutcase, just dragging me dad everywhere, lying down, right? And he said to me, he was dead serious though, he was actually concerned, right, this lad, he was actually serious, like, right? He goes, and his pants and his undies are down and everything is actually in his pants. His pants and his underpants were round by his ankles, he said. Right. And he was being dragged around, man. Oh, man, picture the scene, mate. Like a middle-aged man, like holding on to a dog's lead, like just being dragged, like by this super dog, yeah, with his pants and his underpants round his ankles. Right. And I looked, when he said his pants and his undies are down and he's being dragged around the woods, man, I'd seen it in my head, you know, like the picture of Duke just mischievously getting away with it and just doing whatever he could, like, to sort of, I don't know, he just used to take the piss out of everyone, didn't he? Let's put it this way, if he could have done it to me, he would have done it to me, like, but we were like best buddies, you know what I mean? Right. And I was looking at this lad, I didn't know whether he was serious or not, right, and I actually started laughing, I went, no, I actually pissed out with, oh, he's got his pants and his undies down. Right. And I was like, I started laughing and he goes, Bruce, I'm being serious, mate. It's like an emergency. He was dead serious, man. He goes, it's an emergency, mate. It's like it's violence. He's dragging him around everywhere like a doll. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh no. And I thought to myself, what do we do? Do we go and try and rescue him, or do we like see if he can work it out? I didn't know what to do, you know, because I didn't want to actually go and find. What a grisly thing to find, you know, imagine like trying to catch your dad being dragged by a dog with his undies and pants down. It just doesn't happen, does it? Imagine that in a film. Oh man, what a movie that would be like. Right, but anyway, we didn't do nothing. I just looked at me mate and I was like, he's going, oh, you're going to do anything? I was like, I didn't know, I didn't want to. It is like a National Lampoon film, like Phil saying it is like a national. But the dog was so mischievous and naughty, you know, I don't know if he'd have done it on purpose, he might have, right. Right, next thing, I was thinking, like, I don't want to go into the woods and see that, right. My mate was going, I can't help him, can I? Because the dog might attack me, you know what I mean? I was like, and then in my head I was thinking, I wonder where he is now then, you know, in the woods. How far he is, like, at the moment, like. This man with his pants down and that, like. And I said to him, look, I'll try and sort it out, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? So he got off that lad and I closed the front door and I went into the living room and I said to me, I was telling my mum, I was like, Mum, so-and-so just told me that Duke's dragging me arm man all around the woods there and he's got his pants and his undies down and that, like, right, like a water skier or something, do you know what I mean? A Duke ski, like a Duke ski. Right, and just as I was telling me, Mum was actually going, you're gonna have to go and get him, aren't you? You know what I mean? You're gonna have to go look for him and that, like. Then just as we were talking, I was like, all right, I'll go and get him, like, you know what I mean? I was like thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to enjoy this, but, you know. Next thing, the door knocks and that, like, and my dad had somehow managed to get himself together. I don't know if anyone rescued him, I actually don't know if anyone saw him and helped him, like. Right, imagine that lad, his memory, you know, the lad who knocked on the door, just imagine that in his memory, what a thing to see. It'd be like, totally, I mean, it's not funny at the time, is it, like, but, like, like a rag doll, just dragging him everywhere, man. And there was a knock on the door, like. And he comes in, like, the door opened, my mum opened the door, and it was my dad. He had actually managed to somehow recover himself, right? And he come in, he going, that fucking dog is fucking doing my head. And he was going mad, mate. Yeah, right. And he was coming when he had his glasses on and his jackets on and that. And he'd managed to pull his pants up and that and everything, yeah. And he come in and he was looking at me. And my mum, you know, he was going mad. And he was like, you fucking dog. And I was like, Dad, you shouldn't take him out while you're bevied, you know what I mean? You shouldn't do it. I'd have took him out if you just left him. I'd have took him, wouldn't I? You know what I mean? You didn't have to take him out while you're bevied, like, you know. And he was like, looking at us both, right, you know what I mean? And he had his jackets on and everything, yeah. And he turned round to go out the living room door to hang his coat up, you know what I mean? He just turned round. He was going mad, like, obviously, like. He turns round to the living room door, right, and you know his collar, you know, the back of his collar where the back of his neck was, there was loads of twigs. There was about, like, 5, like, wooden twigs sticking out my dad's, like, the neck of his collar, you know, the back of his neck, like, sticking up out of his collar. And I was like, you know what I mean? He just turned around, like, imagine his head like that, looking at us that way, and then he turns around like that, and I see all these twigs sticking out the back of his neck. I burst out laughing big time. I couldn't help it, like, I was like, oh my God. Do you get me? Because the force field, while he was like that on the floor, like, whoo, all these twigs were being collected in the back of his jacket, like, you know, the back of his neck. Like, loads of twigs, man. I mean, has anybody out there ever seen anything like that with their own dads? Like, it's just a classic. The relationship between them was just beyond belief, you know what I mean? It's just too much to believe, like. And I don't know, like, I don't know whether I should laugh at that or not, you know. I'm sure my dad would laugh at it in hindsight. You know, my dad was like a young man or something and we could tell him about it. He'd probably laugh his head off, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? But it wasn't weird the way my dad could take those kind of things and it didn't bother him, like, you know, he kind of like... And ironically, he still loved the dog, you see. This is what makes me laugh, you see. He still wanted to bring him home after all that, like, you know what I mean? Oh, man, what's the... Yeah. We'll get on to that one. I'll do that one tomorrow because I can't talk. Getting past once it gets past midnight, I've got to keep, you know what I mean, keep the noise down, like, kind of thing, you know what I mean. But oh man, I was thinking to myself, will I be able to talk about that? Like, really cracking up on camera, like, you know. I was hoping I was a bit bevied, to be honest. Yeah, before you go, do that shrinking head thing again. Yeah, man. Okay, that's like this is the full size, my deep voice. Right, and as I keep talking, and I'll just go, and here we go, and I was well. That's the. Have you seen Mars Attacks, Jewel? Have you seen the film Mars Attacks? Oh, you've never seen it. Julie, watch that film. It is funny. Honestly, it's a comedy. You know what I mean? You're in for a treat if you've never seen it. You're in for a treat if you've never seen Mars Attacks. It's hilarious. Proper comedy, like, but you know, because the Martians, they come to Earth and they've got like special weapons and they're basically, you know, they're trying to invade Earth and kill everyone, right? And they fire this ray gun at this general, you know, he's a general going, we'll beat you Martians, we're going to do you in, you know what I mean, we're going to finish you Martians off. And the Martians just look at him sarcastically, fire this gun on him, right? And he starts shrinking, and that's where I got the idea from, and he's going, and then he starts going, you know, as he shrinks through a little, and the Martians are just looking at him like that, as if to say, yeah, what you got to say about it now, like, as he's shrinking, you know what I mean? Oh, you got to see it, like, it's funny. And what's the other film? Another film I was going to ask you to check out before I go. I recommend a film called Living in Oblivion. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, Living in Oblivion. It's a comedy, New York scene comedy. That's another one you should check out. It's hilarious. It's about it's about people in New York making a really, like, they're making a movie, you know, they're actually movie makers. Yeah, you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. You're Living in Oblivion, it's called, right? Steve Buscemi's in it, you know, the guy that was in Boardwalk Empire, and he's the main star, he's the director, and he's supposed to be a movie director in New York, making a film with all these actors and actresses and everything. And basically, the film is a complete disaster, what they're trying to make, but they don't know that, like. Do you know what I mean? If you imagine a movie director thinking he's making the greatest film you've ever seen, and all the actors and actresses think it's going to be amazing as well, and it's terrible what they're doing. They don't even know it's a crap film. You know what I mean? It's very similar to the Sinadoki film, right? But not quite as deep, right? But highly recommend it for a laugh. It's a comedy. It's an actual comedy. Living in Oblivion. Not many people know about it. I saw it by chance on telly and I was laughing my head off. It's really funny. And what's his name's in it? You know, the dwarf out of it's one of the first films he was in. What's it called? Game of Thrones. You know, the fella in Game of Thrones, he's quite an articulate actor, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's actually, like, he's like carrying the banner for dwarves, isn't he? You know what I mean? That guy, like, you know what I mean? He's kind of like, everyone respects him, don't they? But he's in that film. He's in it like he's one of the actors in the movie, you know what I mean? So you can imagine, you know, when I say he's one of the actors, I mean, he's one of the actors in the film, making the film. So the film is all about them making this really dire movie, but none of them realise it's crap, you know what I mean? You've got to see it to understand the way it is, like. Brilliant movie if you've never seen it, like. Any other films, like, I can recommend that are quite comical, like. I have to think about me classic comedy movies, but that's a classic, that is a classic. New York comedy. Not seen Game of Thrones. I thought you were going to say Fantasy Island. No, me and John were talking about him before. That fella out of Fantasy Island, and the man with the golden gun. The plane. Yeah, Game of Thrones. The guy in the Game of Thrones, he's quite an articulate actor, isn't he? You know, you must have seen him, just like clips of him. You know what I mean? He's like, oh yes. You know, for a dwarf, mate, he does it like, you know, he's like kind of puts the pin in the map for dwarfs, like, gives them a bit of integrity, you know what I mean? But he's in Living in Oblivion, like. Got to see it, like. Check out the, when you want to check out the trailers. Check out the trailers. Eddie, yeah, I remember Eddie. Yeah, well, that's the best advice I've got for you, like. You go on Dover Close, so you could drive, yeah. Yeah, when I mention a film, check out the trailers on YouTube. You know, that's the best way to try it, isn't it? You know, you go on and say, check the trailers. So Living in Oblivion, it's on there, like, the trailer. Living in Oblivion, Sinadoki, New York, that's the other one. And I can't remember what the other one is I was wanted to tell you about, which is a comedy, like. But, oh yeah, Mars Attacks, Jewel. Highly recommend it, you'll love it. I'm telling you, you'll love it. I'll tell you what made me laugh, though. You know, I was thinking back, you know, when we were all in yours, when me, you and Danny were watching the superhero movie. The superhero movie, when that fella puts the stuff on and makes all the animals get randy, and they all starts attacking him, like, and there's like a mad chicken on him, and they go mad, like. Get the fart, the old lady farting. That's a classic, that, isn't it? The way the chicken's doing him on the floor. Oh man, that's a funny film. That's what we need in the world right now. We need something to make us laugh. All right, anyone's watching. I mean, you know, in hindsight, when people are watching this in retro in the next couple of days, me subbers, think about Number One on a Dog, the band Number One on a Dog. It's not about me. It's about my dog. He is the leader. I'm the servant. He's the master. It's one of those circumstances, you know when the Bible says, he who is first will be last, and he who is last will be first, and the master will be the servant and the servant will be the master. That's what happened with me and Duke. I became his servant. I actually willfully decided, where did you want to go, man? What do you need? I'll sort it out, you know what I mean? Man, he was okay with me. I had great times, you get me, like. I knew how to talk to him and that, like, I understood him. Remember, shake hands. He used to say, sit, shake hands. He'd go, to shake hands, like. I was going to get a band. I'm going to do a new song, like a heavy metal parody, like a really heavy metal type song called Black Claw. Because Duke had this, like, he had this unique black claw, didn't he, there? You know, like, it was sort of high up on his paw, you know, and it was like Black Claw. You know, like, imagine like a heavy metal band called Black Claw. Duke's Black Claw, like. I think that's what my dad was trying to do, innit? Actually, checking my dad was like trying to, like, something was trying to control him to take the Black Claw or something, like, I don't know. Like trying to take a horn off a rhino, innit? A pair of pliers. I mean, here's my list. I've got a list, okay. I've got a speech to do about a crazy dream I had. You know, I'm going to be talking about my dreams and visions soon, guys. You know, when I've had, like, heavy duty dreams and visions about the future and stuff and significant signs and things. And I don't want to see what people think, if they agree with me, if you know, I'm talking a load of gobbledygook, or was I talking about the future before anyone, like, you know? I don't know. Okay, getting off then. I think I've had a good little chin wag. And we can, but June, Mars Attacks. Trust me, you'll laugh your head off. It's brilliant. It's so funny. Tom Jones is in it. Tom Jones. If you've never seen that film, you're in for a treat. Do you know what I mean? I wish I could watch it for the first time again. Like, the Martians are horrible, man. They've got the brains are outside. They've got, like, inside out brains. Like, the brains are there, yeah. And they need these, like, to be on Earth, they have to wear these, like, space helmets, you know what I mean? I must sound like a right lunatic, mustn't I? I don't know what I'm talking about. Tim Burton did it, you know Tim Burton? Yeah, Dr. Soulless Dead. Your mum. Your mum. Dr. Soulless Dead has joined us, is right. What do you mean, mate? Yo, yeah, it's Dr. Soulless Dead. He's joined us on a live stream. He's one of my friends in America. He's right. That's the first time we've been on crazy infrared. Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, he saw the infrared story. What do you reckon, man? Do you reckon I was being stalked there? Because there's no way I could have. I was in the middle of woods. There was nothing electrical around me whatsoever that could have been doing it, like, you know. Yeah, the infrared story. Yeah, just now. He's just seen it, man. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well, on the Fred here, my sister's here. I don't know if Phil's still with us. It's getting a bit late. I don't know. Me nephew's here. I have no idea, but the Tyree canopy should shield, maybe. Right. Tree. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've just got to the end of this live transmission, guys. This live stream. I'm just getting winding up. I'm about to be detaching, but it's great to see you on a live stream, mate. And you're most welcome. Tree canopy. Yeah, right. The Tyree, but the tree canopy should shield, maybe. Yeah, exactly. Someone must have been close by, mustn't he? That's what spooked me. I was on my own in the middle of woods, and you know, someone sending a signal to my phone, so it kind of gave me the creeps. You know what I mean? I was thinking, hang on, someone watching me here. Because anyone, let's put it this way, say someone followed me, they could have done me in them woods, and they could have made it look like anyone's done it, couldn't they? You know what I mean? Because they've got no protection whatsoever, and there's no cameras or nothing to record anything. So I was a bit scared, to be honest, like. I had visions of there's a film out there called Curse of the Demon. It's a really bad, like, video nasty from the 80s. It's like a remake of The Night of the Demon, but it's a modern version. It's really crap, terrible video, nasty. But there's a fella camping in a tent, and the creature drags him out of his tent in his sleeping bag and swings him around and just throws him, and just throws him like a rag doll. It's like, I thought that was going to happen to me. When I go in the woods now, I guess they have cams out there. Yeah, well, there's hunting cameras, isn't there? You know, those those cameras they use that are infrared, and they film things in the night with the night vision kind of thing, and they switch on automatically, don't they, when animals, they got like movement detectors and stuff, and they're catching all kinds of strange stuff, aren't they? I mean, I've been thinking, you know, when I left this flat last year I went to the Isle of Man for the TT, right? I got back to me flat and my sink was blocked up with some kind of green paint. You know, someone had been in me flat, do you know what I mean, while I was away. It done me head in, like, because I'm in a high-rise and anyone could have keys, couldn't they, you know what I mean, right? And I think I've got to get a hunting camera and put it in the corner, so it, like, if I'm out and someone enters this flat while I'm out, an infrared hunting camera would pick them up, wouldn't it, you know what I mean, and, you know, get them on camera. Speaking of sleeping bags, Julie's just asked, remember when you told me to get in one and you farted in it and sat on the end to trap me? No, I don't actually. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Jill. No, I don't remember trapping you in a sleeping bag, farting in it and then sitting on the end. I wouldn't do something like that, would I? Come on. Well, I wouldn't do that to my little sister, would I? Come on, big brothers don't do that kind of thing. That is a bad practical joke, that, isn't it, really, though? I actually think that you should... Why did you tell me that? That was training, Julie, you know, like in case you got kidnapped and that. I was training you, like, to deal with anything. This is a good memory, Jules. Do you remember this? When you were really little, and for Christmas, me and John got, you know, we got like boxing. It was the year me and John got boxing gloves, and you know, Boxing Day. The next day is Boxing Day. All the family got me and John to box each other, and we were like, they made a boxing ring. And on Boxing Day, because we had a pair of boxing gloves, you know, John's a year older than me. Remember, we were only toddlers. And we were punching the shit out of each other with boxing gloves on, and everyone was standing around like a boxing ring, laughing their heads off, you know, all the relatives and that, my aunties and everyone, you know what I mean, my mum and dad, the aunties and that, watching me and our John punch each other's heads in because we had boxing gloves on, you know what I mean, and we were really going for it, man. We were thinking, like, you know, it's allowed to wear boxing gloves. It wasn't like when you have a fight when you're a kid, because you got boxing gloves on, you think it's okay, you know, so we're like going punching each other's heads in, and all the family going, way, go on. Right, but the same year, me and John got a pair of handcuffs each, you know, those crappy handcuffs, like kids' handcuffs, and we handcuffed you to the table. Do you remember that? Do you remember being handcuffed to the table on Christmas Day? Because we had, like, we've got a pair of handcuffs, who can we use them on, you know? Look straight to Julie, like, you know, the victim. Julie was a heavily traumatised kid, I suppose. It was training in case you were taken hostage. And that, like, I think so. He looks, because you were so young, yeah, right. I think so, yeah, but the aliens are coming to get me was the best. Shut up, Jill, everyone will think I'm a bastard. Don't tell everyone. The aliens are coming to get you if you don't give us that packet of crisps. Bruce, this is your attractive dancing sister, isn't it? Yeah, look. Attractive. My friend in America, Jill, Dr. Soulless Dead, he's called. He remembers you dancing in the Isle of Man. And one of the videos, he watched one of the videos. He was like, "Is that your sister?" I was like, "Yeah, man." I don't know his name. He's anonymous, you see, Julie. No one knows his identity. He doesn't want anyone to know his proper identity because he's been gang stalked in America and he's had some serious grief, you know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. Last year's videos. But he's saying you're attractive, Jules. Cool beans, she said. Cool beans. Look, man, is this your attractive dancing sister? Traumatized. Yay, I stay low key. See, man. Hey, this dude's one of the most intelligent people on YouTube, I'm telling you. Trust me. Yeah, man. Okay. I'll be getting off then. I've got to get off in case I'm keeping the neighbours awake. You know what I mean? It's a stress. I wish I lived in a house or a bungalow or something. You know what I mean? It is pain. Yeah, man. That's my biggest mistake. I made a massive mistake with not staying in what's it called? He's just said cheers because he is, man. I'm telling you straight. He's one of the most intelligent people on YouTube. I'm sure he knows that himself. Like. You know what I mean? Can't pull the wool over this guy's eyes, I'm telling you, mate. I wish I lived in a bungalow or something, you know what I mean? I need to move out because of the noise levels. My living room's like an echo chamber. It's really loud, like. But yeah. Okay. When are you going to do some speeches, by the way? I miss you actually talking, you know when you talk about stuff. I know you've been putting your videos up, the songs you put up, the the poignant messages in the songs, which is very original. You're actually an original DJ, man, you know. They're all original tunes, aren't they? Like, different, like. But when are you going to do some talks, man? I sort of miss that, like, you know what I mean? But... soon, maybe. I had a bunch of stuff happen and I know they are watching me here. Wow, that's it. We're all going through that at the moment, aren't we? Oh, man. I've had a couple of flip outs recently where I've been getting paranoid, you know what I mean? Me flat and that, like, I'm surrounded by cameras here, you know what I mean? As soon as I walk out my front door, there's a camera, like. They try to force me to have a fake girlfriend. Wow. If that was me, mate, I don't know. Yeah. I'm very weary of other people trying to arrange my relationships. I hate the idea of being, it's arranged. Say, if I find out a female's been told about me, like, what's the word? What's that word? Debriefed. Debriefing. If I think that a woman's been debriefed and she knows everything about me before she meets me, it's all over. It doesn't matter who she is. She could be like the most amazing woman on earth. But if I think she actually knows about me before she meets me, then I'm like, I'm out of here, mate. I don't want anything to do with this. I've got to like either go for a drink or go to a pub or go to college or something like that. That kind of environment. If it's not like a drinking thing or something, meet them in a club or a college or some kind of higher education or something. That'd be great, like or on YouTube, like Yes, I told one that if she was told about me, I can't be with her. Yeah, isn't it? It's weird. It's like arranged marriages, isn't it? It's like someone's using them to get into your life. You know what I mean? And I'm very weary of that. I felt like all my relationships were arranged, and it done me head when I thought I've had 3 long-term relationships. Yeah, all 3 of them, I believe, they were all debriefed about me before they met me. And as soon as I realised that, I think, hold on, is this some kind of arrangement? This ain't natural, is it? Yeah, arranged. It's like arranged marriages, isn't it? You know what I mean? Have you ever seen a film called Double Identity? That's quite an interesting movie. Double Identity, it's called. I think it's on YouTube. And it's about, Jeremy Irons, the actor Jeremy Irons. He plays an identical twin, right? He plays 2 parts in the movie. He's playing 2 identical twins, right? And they're both knocking a one of them is supposed to be going out with this French girl, right? You know, she's a famous French actress, and she starts seeing Jeremy Irons, right? And she doesn't know he's got an identical twin, right? And the both of them are knocking a slice off her without telling her, right? And she hasn't got a clue that there's two of them, right? And I've always thought about that in my world, where, like, wouldn't that be, don't get me wrong, some guys would buzz off it if two women were, you know, but not like without telling you, you know what I mean? Say you with a woman and she's an identical twin, and one of them's knocking a slice off you and the other one's knocking a slice off you secretly, and you don't know there's two of them. It splits your mind into two, doesn't it? You know what I mean? But in that movie, Double Identity, it's called, it's quite deep, it's quite a strange film, like, you know, not many people are aware of it, like, you know, but in the movie, the twin is a dude, and they're winding up this woman, like, you know what I mean? I have dealt with twins this past month. Yes, one is a little thicker, I can tell. Oh man, that's weird. I can't believe you're going through that and I'm talking about that, man, because they can split your head with doubles, you see. If you think you're with one person and it's two of them, it's cheating, isn't it? And worse still, triplets. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I'm very weary of, you know, triplets and clones. I mean, that's the other thing. They might not be natural twins, might they? They could be clones, you see. They connected themselves to me, so I see them walking dogs. Wow, weird. Whereabouts do you live, by the way? Whereabouts are you, man? If you don't mind me asking, like. I think they wanted me to be with the thicker one. You could actually tell the difference. But they didn't approach it as, like, you actually knew there's two of them, like. If they approached you and one of them just pretends that they're one person, yeah, they pop out in public. Whereabouts are you? Are you actually in the States? Oh, it's Chicago. From Chicago, right? Chicago. Hey, all the gangsters there, isn't it, man? That's like, you're like not far from where all the gangsters were and everything, man. They tried to speak, but I was stalked at my house half a block away. Well, look, Julie's been to Chicago. Wow. Crazy. Didn't know you'd been to Chicago, Julie. A lot of thugs. Yeah, a lot of foreigners. Wow. Crazy. Like, you know the series Boardwalk Empire? That's set in Atlanta, isn't it? I love that programme. That's one of the best things I've seen on television, that Boardwalk Empire. Yes, twins or body doubles is a mind game, yeah. If you don't know about it, it'd screw your head up, wouldn't it? Yeah, flew there and then driven to Michigan. Wow. Crazy. But I thought I was being wound up with male twins as well sometimes. I don't mean like in a gay way. I mean like friends, you know, friends who were like coming to mind, right? And I always remember one of them, he'd knock on the door, come, like smoke some weed and then go home, right? Then a couple of hours later, he'd knock again and it'd be the same person. I'd be thinking, hang on, he's slightly different, isn't he? You know, if you're sitting in someone's house and then you have to go out and get something. Yeah, man, look what he's saying. Yeah, Michigan has good fireworks. It's right, man. All this time I've known this guy and I never actually asked him whereabouts in America he is, man. It's mad, isn't it? Grand Rapids. Yeah, they're messing with you. Yeah, I've had it, mate. I've been there, right? Now, this is the crazy thing, right? One of these lads who I suspected, right, he came into my house and normally it was dead good to him, you know what I mean? He'd knock on the door, come in and be like, how's it going, mate? Everything sounds, yeah? And he'd be like, yeah, it's sound, man. Then another day he knocked on the door, right? The same person, in my mind, he's the same person. He walks in, right? And you know what I didn't like about him? You know when someone walks into your space and they go... You know when anyone whistles, you know, and there's no reason for it. You know what I'm saying? They're not like singing along to a tune or there's no music on and that. Like for no reason, he's walking into the room where I'm about to give him a cup of coffee and start talking to him. Right? He starts going. So I just flipped out. I looked at him. I went, get out. And he went, what? I went, get out now. I just completely lost it. Right? And he goes, what? You want me to leave? I went. And I ended up just screaming. I'm like, get out now, and I'll fucking kill you. And he went, I'm going. And he walked out, like, you know what I mean? He had to literally ran out, like, you know what I mean, right? And I suspected. A couple of days later, he was saying to me brother, I don't know why your Bruce went mad with me. I wasn't doing nothing, but he was whistling. Do you know what I mean? He was whistling. It done me head in, because it's like a signal, isn't it? Do you understand? It's like blowing a trumpet or something, isn't it? Right. So anyway, a couple of weeks later, the same lad was sitting in front of me, right? And I knew one of them was okay, you see. I knew one of them was actually sound. Do you get me? You know one of them's friendly. He sits there and he looks at me and he goes, it's like this, Bruce, I've got this evil twin. You know what I mean? And no one knows about him, like, and I don't really, talk about it, like. I was like, oh, great, so you're knocking on my door and you just so happen to have an evil twin. Like, and he didn't say twin, he said evil twin. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, so I'm dealing with this evil guy knocking on my door to wind me up. Is that what you're telling me, like? What can you do? It's done so, like, if you attack the innocent one. Imagine if I slapped the one on the head and he's innocent, he's not evil, and he's like, what are you doing that for? But if you don't know, they both exist, what can we do about it? It's a dirty trick, isn't it? But that's what the Nazis did, didn't they? They experimented with twins. I mean, have you seen the stuff about, what's his name? Tim Peake. Tim Peake, the British astronaut that was in orbit a couple of years back, right? Have you seen the footage on YouTube and it's saying, like, here's Tim Peake, and look behind him, there's a blue screen, like a dub. So how can he be in a space station? It's dubbed, right? Sure enough, I reckon, yeah, you know what I think? Tim Peake is actually a twin. He's got an identical twin, right? They have one guy in orbit, actually in orbit in space, going round, and they're floating and looking at the camera going, oh, I'm doing this experiment, doing that experiment, yeah, right. But just in case anything goes wrong, they have an evil twin on Earth in a kind of synthetic setup with a blue screen and all that business. And if something goes wrong in space, they have to do a switch to the guy on Earth, the twin on the Earth, right? Just in case, like, say there was, like, someone died in space or something like that, and they must have a delay, mustn't they, if they say, switch to the Earth mode, right? So they need a lookalike a Tim Peake on Earth, to just in case they have to flick, and everyone thinks, like, they don't see anything happening in space, any accidents happening in space. They see they see a twin in a studio on Earth with a blue screen behind them, right? And by accident, the camera has gone on the wrong astronaut. The camera by accident has gone on the one on the Earth instead of the one in space. While the blue screen isn't activated, there's no footage behind them that makes it look like they're in a space station. Do you know what I mean? That's my spin on it, like. I think they've been using twins for years, to fool us. I think some famous actors might have twins and they don't tell us, When people are acting strange, that's the first thing that goes in my mind, I think. Are we talking twins here? If someone's a twin and they're not telling me, there's a few people I've known and I've actually suspected. Ex-girlfriend, I thought she was an identical twin. There's a famous film out there, right, guys? It's an old... Hammer horror film, I think it is. The old Hammer horror films, the old movies, the vampire movies from the 70s, right? And I don't know what it's called, but it's about the twin sisters, and they're quite, really attractive girls, like these two twin sisters. One of them's kind of a bit naughty, and one of them's okay, right? And one of them's getting conned by Dracula, and she becomes a vampire. I don't know if you've ever seen it, and they're really thick girls, like, they're quite attractive chicks, right? Now, the two girls in that movie that are identical twins, right? Yeah, Julie remembers it. What was it called? I've got no idea, like. But do you remember them? Didn't they look like Vicky, Jule? Do you remember them? They were identical. When I had an ex-girlfriend called Vicky, and she was like... And sometimes she'd come and see me, and she was okay. And sometimes she was a bit strange. Do you know what I mean? And I always thought to myself, when I saw that movie later on, I was like, oh my word, she's the dead ringer, them twins in that movie. I suspected her of being a twin, you know what I mean, and not telling me. Because there was some strange circumstances I had to go through. The way I detected it, right, you're sitting in a room with your girlfriend, it's like you can tell they're a twin because 1 minute you feel like they love you, right, and it's, your typical girlfriend, right, and then a couple of days later, when you're with them again, you can sense that they don't love you, they don't fancy you, and they don't want to be around you, but they're there putting on an act, if you know what I mean. I was watching Harold and Maude recently, remember that? Harold and Maude? No, not at the moment. What was it? Got any? What was it about you? Harold and Maude. I think it's called Twins of Evil. Oh yeah, we've got Jonah on the line now. We've got Jonah Dominguez. Welcome on. Well, hey, hi Jonah. He said I think it's called Twins of Evil. The lad kept pretending he was dead. Oh yeah. You showed me a little clip of it, didn't you? Yeah. Harold and Maude. Yeah. I remember it, yeah. The lad kept pretending he was dead and the old lady he was seeing, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, black horror comedy. Yeah. Now I know. Mad that, isn't it? It's mad atmosphere, isn't it? But yeah, that's what the vampire film is called, right? Twins of Evil, yeah. Well, you know the two chicks in that film? I used to go with a girl, mate, and she was the spitting image of both of them. It's like, you know, there's two of them, isn't it? She was the spitting image of both of them, like. You know what I mean? And it used to creep me out. Eventually, when I actually seen that film, I thought, hang on, that's my girlfriend in that film. And there's two of them. So I started thinking about it, like thinking, oh no, am I being wound up here, like? One of them seemed to love me and the other hated me, like. It's very confusing looking at the woman. You're used to them saying that they love you, but you know inside that they hate you. You know what I mean? It's a crazy sensation, like. See why I'm so like bachelorhood? Man. I feel much better with me blow up doll, I tell you, you know what I mean? It's like hey, guitar players sleep with what they called those blow up guitars. Guitar players, we sleep with inflatable guitars. Margentina. What's that, you? Margentina. Can you hear all that noise? There's a party in a garden down there and the microphone's picking it up. Yeah, they're partying like mad there. There's a garden party over the road somewhere. Lol, Argentina. Oh, Margentina. Yeah, listen. They're screaming their heads off and partying. Yeah, listen. Don't know what they're doing. I'll have to have a nose, won't I? I don't know if they're actually shouting to me. Imagine if they were watching me on YouTube and they're all going, Bruce, Bruce. Is it Sunday there? It is now. It's actually. Yo, listen, it's getting louder. It's 1:29 in the morning. 29 minutes past 1. So it's officially Sunday, the 2nd of August. Yeah. We are actually in Sunday. Okay, man. Okay. All right. I think I best get off now. And it's good to see people. Let's say how many we've got watching. Man, I broke the world record tonight. I've got to 4 viewers. Yeah, we've got 4 viewers at the moment watching. Which is that is a world record for me on YouTube when I'm doing live streams. I'm used to doing them to no one, but the reason I do live streams, guys, is you don't have to upload it, do you? Once you press stop, it gets automatically uploaded and you don't have to do nothing, like, you know. So, and then all you gotta do is type the information, haven't you, and the titles and the description and that, like. So it's very useful doing live streams, but the quality is not too good, is it? You know, the picture quality, me cam is a cheap one at the moment. Hoping to upgrade everything soon to make high quality shows, right, guys? And what do you reckon, man? You know, Dr. Soulless Dead, right? Would you be up for you know, you could use some kind of disguise, or, you know, like a silhouette, or, you know, like a low light, you know, like Banksy. You know what Banksy does when he does interviews and you can't see him and stuff, right? Well, you know, if I can get a thingy set up, you know what they call it, the StreamYard or the Zoom thing, where I can get multiple screens on and people can talk on camera with me and we can have discussions and that. Would you be up for that, man? It'd be cool if I could get a few people up and we can talk about some serious subject matters, you know. That's what I'm trying to work on, is getting the split screen function and getting other people on, you know. Ah, the FBI blurry window. Yeah, the blurry window and the disguised voice. You know what's funny, man? You know, when I think of you in my mind, in my memory, when I think of you saying things, or say, sometimes I know when people are watching me videos, because I get like an ESP signal, you know, like as if it's like someone's like acknowledging what I've said in the video, and I'm thinking, yeah, Bruce is right there, man. And that's what I'm saying in my mind. I don't hear it. I always hear your voice with the voice changer on it, you know. So in my imagination, I always think to myself, imagine if I met him in real life and I was, all right, man, I can't believe I actually meet you in the flesh. And you go, yeah, right, man. Incredible voice changes, man. I would still need my voice changed. Okay, would that be possible? It should be, shouldn't it? Yeah, I hear people's voices too with their comments, even the voice I haven't heard yet. It's mad, isn't it, man? Biggest mistake I made a colossal mistake going on YouTube without hiding my identity. You know, when I was talking about serious issues, once I took the plunge, hadn't I? Once I was out there, that was it. There was no stopping me. I'm getting trolled by all kinds of weirdos, you know what I mean? But, you know... That's the funny thing, though. I don't get trolled enough. I can't understand it. I don't get trolled enough, because I think like loads of people get trolled big time. But I think I've put my wall. That's why I put the music up. You know, when I put the music up, I don't put music up expecting people to like it or think like, whoa, it's another way of putting something into the YouTube algorithm, which isn't just the spoken word. And this is the crazy thing, right, guys? You know, when I've been testing the algorithm, right? When I put a cover version out, it's to see how fast it responds to it and says copyright, you know, copyright restricted or whatever, like. But they leave it going up, you know, they won't block it, right? Right. Now, all my original music, all the songs I've ever written, even the blues songs, there's a blues song, you got to go right to the beginning of me uploads. There's a blues song called Blue Ferrari, right, which is a typical blues tune. There's nothing original in it whatsoever, apart from the way I do it, like, you know, and I just sing the same verse 3 times. I don't change the lyrics much. It's just a simple blues song, right? And I've never had a copyright restriction on it, you know what I mean? You'd expect, like, you know, when you do a blues song, you'd expect like some kind of copyright, you know, what's the copyright claim? You see the word copyright claim, and I'd expect like it'd say like with a blues song like Buddy King or you know, BB King or John Lee Hooker, or, you know, an original blues. Oh, Julie's going to bed. Night, Julie. I'll speak to you tomorrow, okay? I'll be back on tomorrow, hopefully, and do some more speeches. I'll see you soon. Julie said night to everyone. Yeah, right. Because of the basic string arrangements everyone uses. Exactly right. Exactly right. Now, I expect, even, you know, I expect the blues song to at least be, you know, like recognised and like, you know, by accident. You know, and the algorithm does make mistakes, doesn't it? It actually accuses people who've written innocent songs of like using someone else's material, you know, because of certain string arrangements, etc. Like, as you say, right. Now, this is the thing. I know my music must be original because I've never had one single issue with not one of my songs, even my blues songs, not one of them has been copyright challenged, right? But it's because I know there's people on YouTube saying my song was copyright challenged, and it's my own song. You know what I mean? Right? Not one of my tunes has been copyright challenged or mixed up with a famous song, even the blues songs, right? As soon as I put one of them cover versions out, it's spotted. Every single cover version I've done has been recognised, right? Except for Prince. You know, the song Gold by Prince. That's the only track. And, you know, Prince used to be really strict. If anyone tried to put his music out, you know, because he doesn't like being ripped off, does he? He didn't like being ripped off, right? Now, okay, Prince has passed on, right? Prince is not alive in our world at the moment, right? But the Paisley Park, you know, organisation, the people who run Prince's estate still exist, don't they? And they're still onto people for putting, you know, ripping Prince's songs off, you know what I mean? So I think I've been officially recognised by Prince as a bona fide, you know, representative or something, because I'm sure it should have been copyrighted there, you know, like at least not blocked, but, you know, it should have been copyrighted so he gets he's not taking any royalties whatsoever from the covers of his song. I've done it, put it up twice. I put Gold up twice, a live version and a recorded version, you know. So he's the only one that hasn't copyrighted me. I've been copyrighted by everyone. Muse, Aerosmith, Joe Satriani, ZZ Top, Pink Floyd. Who else have I done? But me blues songs, which are very simple, you know what it's like with the blues. There's no copyright on them, is there? But, you know, it's weird, man. You'd think someone in the blues world will try and get something on it. Like, I put a couple of vinyl recordings and I didn't get a strike. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. It's because it's not from a digital source, is it? It's probably because it hasn't got a digital signature. It's probably why, like. I mean, here's a weird one, right? Back in the day when I was using a VHS video to watch loads of videos, right? My friend lent me it didn't recognise them. That's a good idea, that, man, isn't it? Sort of like, I've never made a vinyl. I'd like to make a vinyl just for the hell of it, you know, just one record of my own music on vinyl. That'd be interesting and that, like, because think about it, your music's not going through a laser beam, is it? It's going through a diamond, isn't it, on the stylus? There's a diamond present, isn't there, you see? Your music is actually going through a diamond, isn't it? Which is crazy, like. Yeah, the copyright strikes, man. I mean, blues. No one copyrights blues, do they? Make a vinyl, then record it into a computer. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? Bamboo and diamonds. My friend lent me a videotape, right? He went out and bought it. He bought the videotape. This is just before the DVD period, right? He bought a video. Oh, no, hang on. Did he buy a DVD and I copied it from a DVD? I don't know whether it was a VHS or a DVD. But anyway, he lent me this video of if you make a record and record it, then sell or give the song as a waveform, it will sound special, right? Yeah, I know the waveform. I hardly use waveform because that's the high, like it's the big quality, isn't it? And you can set it on Steinberg. You can set waveforms to, like, you know, so many bits. I'm not really, you know, but most of my tracks on YouTube are MP3s. Do you get me? Because I keep them kind of rough until I do a polished product. You know, MP3s. The high quality MP3s, but they're not the highest quality available yet. You see, that's what I'm saying. Everything on YouTube is all my music stuff is kind of still in the raw. You know what I mean? It's not at the highest quality yet. You know what I mean? I haven't worked that out yet until I start putting an album together. But yeah, I mainly use MP3s. But anyway, I'm not sure. My mate lent me a video of, you know, Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush. It was a drum lesson. You know, it was Neil Peart doing drum lessons, teaching some drum beats and everything, and he'd bought it, right? I'm trying to think, was it a VHS tape that he actually lent me? And I linked two videos together, two VHS recorders together. And remember, this isn't on a disc or anything. Wasn't digital. I think it was a VHS tape, right? And I put the video in, and I managed to have two videos to record the. I wanted to copy the drum lesson so I could watch it myself in privacy. You know, I wasn't ripping it off. You know, he had bought it, like me. You know, my friend had bought it, like. But I wanted to copy it, right? And I tried copying it, right? And there was actually a digital signature in the actual videotape that said this tape cannot be copied because it's got like a thing. And I was thinking, oh my word, Rush were way ahead of the game, weren't they? You know, there was actually a digital signature in a VHS tape. I managed to copy it, but it was really bad quality, you know what I mean? They sort of put this thing in that makes it the signal worse, you know what I mean? Like, it breaks it up. I mean, they're entitled to, aren't they? We're not meant to copy videos, are we? You know what I mean? But, like, yeah, I think it was a VHS tape, and they managed to put some kind of signal in it that made it difficult to tape it. Or was it? No, that was it, right? I had to copy it to VHS because when I tried copying it to a DVD recorder, it wouldn't let me do it. It was like this signal come up and it said, this is illegal, you're not allowed to copy this thing, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, hold on, let's rig it to a VHS, I rigged 2 VHS tapes together, and it allowed me to copy it. But when I was trying to copy from VHS tape to a DVD recorder, it wouldn't let me do it. It was weird. It was actually in the videotape, the signal. It's like kind of crazy, like. But, you know, you got the right, haven't you, to put those things in there. Digital signatures, aren't they, you know what I mean? I learned all that in college when I did a course on networking and stuff and putting digital signatures. We did comprehensive word processing course, you know. It kind of, you know, it's like teaching us journalism, I suppose. And I couldn't believe all the, you know, the watermarks, yeah. Yeah, digital signatures, man. Because that's all you have to do, isn't it? Anything digital now, you make anything original, as long as you put the digital signatures in, anyone tries to rip it off, they get spotted straight away, don't they? It's crazy. But I can't believe, you know, the speed of the algorithm of YouTube spotting cover versions. It's unbelievably fast, isn't it? Say I've put a cover version up. As soon as I go back to my video manager to add the details, it'll have the copyright issue straight away. It'll say copyright, you know, restricted or whatever, like. It spots it straight away. The algorithm spots it straight away, and I can't for the life of me work that out. You'd think it'd take a couple of days or a couple of weeks, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? And then it works it out and says, oh, this one's it's too fast, isn't it? It's artificial, it's AI, and it's way too fast. It's too quick, it's scary. So I want to put original music in there. It has a hard time dealing with it because it doesn't know it, does it? Because I'm not on iTunes. I've never had a record deal. Yeah, I did have 1 or 2 violations that showed up a few days later. Wow, weird. But yeah, it's kind of spooky how quick it is. But I'm made up. I can honestly say, all my original songs, I've never had an issue with an original song. Not one of them's come up and saying, like, you know, telling me that my song's ripping someone off. I know it's original. Like, I do try to be original, but not so much with the styles and the genres, you know. I always try and sort of, you know, be reminiscent of someone else that's already out there and that, like. But ripping off tunes directly, oh, it's crazy, isn't it? What the speed that they get onto you. It's fun. That's why one of the reasons I put my music up. Like, I'm sort of putting a fence around my channel, so anyone who understands what I'm talking about, the serious stuff. The music's like a fence because the AI doesn't know what I'm doing. It's not for sale in the shops. I don't sell anything on iTunes. It's not available anywhere. Everything I do, the only way people can get my music is either through YouTube or I give them personal copies. You know what I mean? I send them emails or whatever. It's impossible to buy my stuff in the shops. I'm not for sale, basically. I made sure of that. You see. I thought, if you're famous, that's it. It's all over, isn't it? Once you break through the eggshell, it's over, isn't it? It's like, but if you could carry on being a prolific artist and not be famous, it'd be quite an achievement, really. If you can actually put legitimate music out there and no one goes mad about it and you don't turn into a star, man. That's how I live my life, and it kind of sucks. Mad. Yeah, I'm very intrigued about your history, man. I don't want to know too much, do I? I don't ask too many questions because I'm not a nosy person, like. But man, I don't know where you get your knowledge from. I don't understand where how do you know so much, man? An island that is protected. Yeah, man. It's brilliant. Like, I recommend. I tell everyone I know. I say, write your own songs, even if they're crap. Do you know what I mean? String lyrics together and put them to a guitar tune or whatever, right? and throw them on YouTube and see what happens. You'd be amazed what it does for your psyche and everything, because it's original material. And I tell everyone to do it. Everyone I know, I say, get into playing or singing or whatever, and give it a go. And but if you're not into performing, poetry is another way. Just recital. If you write poems and you recital, like do your own recitals and speak the poems out, and that can be another way of crashing the YouTube algorithm, isn't it? Everyone, I do pictures as well, remember, and photographs and stuff. You understand, there's a myriad of pictures and videos and stuff that I do, isn't there? You see, so it's impossible. I don't think anyone can mimic my channel. You know what I mean? So anyone involved with my channel, anyone who's buzzing off it, like, it's kind of like a little bit of it is like an island, isn't it? That's the way I've done it, like. Yeah, you were into art. Yeah, I live for it, man. I've always been an artist since I was a kid, you know what I mean? I used to draw pictures and everything when I was a kid and that, like. But I never wanted to be commercial, you know what I mean? I wanted to be original, like. Kind of, I always make my own things up, you know what I mean? I like to invent things and that. Create things and that. And in the world of art, I think art is another world, isn't it? It's like a parallel universe. If we're genuine, people who do art just to make money are not the same as artists who do it whether they make money or not, are they? Some artists, they don't care whether they make money or not, they just do it. And if they're good enough, it sells. And if they don't want to be famous, they stay under the radar, don't they? But one of the biggest mistakes people can make is, it's magic and hypnosis. It can be, can't it, like? It can be. We can use art to beguile people, just as artists may have beguiled us years ago, pop songs and things when we were kids and stuff. And, but I try and liberate people in my lyrics and stuff. Most of my songs are actually songs about broken-hearted people who have had a hard time with could be, they're actually, women can listen to my songs and put them in the driving seat, and men can, if they've been through like a bad time with a bad guy, a woman can listen to it and feel liberated by what I'm saying. Dudes that have had a bad time from a bad woman, they're kind of like unisex in the way I do write for, like, whereas, like, you listen to Led Zeppelin, it's like, oh baby, those kind of like songs get on my nerves, songs where it's just like, I usually write songs about liberation or romance, if couples are actually happy couples. I do think of them. Not me, I haven't got a relationship, I don't give a shit. I actually don't care anymore. But I do write songs, like romantic songs for couples who actually like each other, If there's any out there, like, if there's still any couples out there that actually love each other, like. Have you ever seen the picture by Banksy? It's called Mobile Lovers. Well, I think it's called Mobile Lovers, and it's a couple that embracing each other, and they both got a smartphone looking over each other's shoulders. They're both looking at the smartphones while they're hugging each other. They're not even paying attention to one another. They're hugging each other, but they both got a smartphone behind each other's back of their heads, looking at checking the texts or checking an email or something. Sometimes the women's voices in music is better than the daily women's voices. Yeah. I can't stand it. Man, when I watch television and an advert comes on and it's a woman's voice saying something, man, it gets me down, because I feel like they're trying to hypnotise me as soon as that woman's voice comes in, because they could use keywords, couldn't they? This is the way I've always looked at television, like. Someone could hypnotise us without us knowing, right? Someone could pull us aside, right? Hypnotise us. They're not telling us, obviously. They're like, you know what they say, when they hypnotise people, they say, you won't remember a thing about this or whatever, right? And then they say something like, when you hear these words, like, something impossible to string together and hear by accident, you will be... they seduce you with a code first, right? And then at television, that's when the code word comes up in an advert or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, someone hypnotises me and says, when you hear the word apple, you will get up and do something, blah, 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 right? And then I'm sitting in my living room watching the telly, and she comes on, the hypnotist woman, she goes, blah, 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 apple. And I'm like, Yes, right, what? You know what I mean? That spooks me, that. You know, people using the TV to hypnotise us. Man, that gets me down, that, like. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't try and hypnotise anyone. It's not right, is it? Unless I was going on a mission or something in some kind of war film or something. And you've got to hypnotise them so they don't get killed. I've actually got a poem, right, like this mad musical song called Kill the Hypnotists, which is crazy. It's not like a commercial thing. I never wrote it. It was an experiment. It was a musical experiment, right? I hypnotised myself. I put my own musical track together. This is something like that everyone can try. You'd be amazed. You might have tried it, like, I don't know, right? Instead of recording the usual songs and poems and stuff, right, put a backing track together of your own music. It could be a rave tune, it could be anything, you know, with a bit of music and that, right? Then write your lyrics to hypnotise yourself, right? You know, write the lyrics down on a piece of paper. It's got to be constructive. It's got to be quite, like, poetic, right? And it'll say, like, you can do anything. There is nothing on this earth you cannot do if you put your mind to it, right? All kinds of stuff like that in the lyrics, right? And it's obviously aimed at yourself, right? And you can say stuff like, if any man or woman tries to command you, you will know and you will immediately stop them. And of course, you've got your own music in it going, right? And I even did it, when I did the experiment, I did it like a countdown and everything. I said, you know, it was like, I will count to 10, from 10 to 0, and you will relax. I done all that to me, you know, I actually recorded it myself, my own voice. And then I said things like, this is the only voice you will respond to in the world of commands. Do you get me, right? Yeah, I use a mirror when I practice jing. Well, anyway, I listened to the track with headphones on, this experimental track I did to sort of hypnotise myself. Just positive words, right? Man, I've never looked back since I've done it, you know what I mean? It's like, what did I do to myself there? DJing. What's that, man? Oh, DJing. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? When I use a mirror when I practice DJing, is that what you actually do? Do you actually do discos and stuff? DJing. Yeah, man. So do you actually do DJing? Like, you actually do it for, you know, for the public? Wow, brilliant. Oh man, so like I say, it'd be do you think you'll ever go, I haven't been paid for a long time for it, right? You just do it for the love of it, kind of thing. I just started up. Do you think you'll ever go on YouTube with, like, and show your identity and stuff? Do you think you'll ever get round to that, or do you want to just stay anonymous? Because I'd be interested to see, like, you know, you're doing a DJ thing, like, so that's that where you get like your record collection is. Like, I don't have Facebook. I don't myself. I ditched Facebook. I used to have Facebook, right, and it was useful for I'd put a video on YouTube, you know what I mean, either a speech or a music video, and then just linking it to Facebook immediately, you get more views. When I was on Facebook, my channel, my original channel, I closed it down. It was called King Bruno the Gaul. That was what my nickname was, on, you know, in one word, King Bruno the Gaul, with the DA, King Bruno da Gaul, right? Like a Gaul, you know, the Gauls fight the Romans and all that stuff, yeah. And oh man, I had quite a lot of videos of some really brilliant speeches, you know what I mean? I did some really deep stuff, man, you know, stuff that you'd be into. Like, well, I've got to redo them for this channel, you get me? Like, I've got a lot of stuff that I can redo, you know. And basically, I had so many views. I had quite a lot of subbers, more subbers than I've got now. I've got 300 subbers now, about 308 subbers now. I had more than that, like. And the views were incredible. I had quite a lot of views. And I felt like the channel was bugged. Do you know what I mean? It was having like, when it started getting bugged, basically. I need to redo vids, but who knows if I will get into it right. Yeah. Well, like I say, when I had the original speeches, using Facebook, just immediately linking to Facebook, it definitely improves the views and all that, right? The reason I closed down my Facebook, I seen the film, the Mark Zuckerberg movie. I seen that film about about Mark Zuckerberg, and when I realised what he'd set it up for, to get chicks and all that kind of stuff, I closed my Facebook down, But it was useful, to promote things from YouTube. It always, Twitter and Facebook are good for that, social network, yeah. Have you seen the American Ultra? He's the same actor, isn't he? The guy who plays Zuckerberg. He's the guy in... he plays Lex Luthor in one of the Superman movies, doesn't he? He's in American Ultra's a great movie, isn't it? If the targeted individual stuff. Because he's an ex-agent, isn't he? And he's just full of codes, isn't he? And because he becomes a stoner and starts getting stoned, they send people out to get rid of him, don't they? You know what I mean? And then that woman comes to see him in the shop, and she wants him to live, doesn't she? She's his handler, isn't it? Well, she was his, she overlooked everything. She goes into the shop where he works, and she says a mad saying, doesn't she, to break the code, to wait to activate him to defend himself. Maybe being an outcast will be my marketing. I'm in a smaller area where I'm watched, so now I'm putting on a real show for them. Yeah, man. Where do you get your knowledge from, man? I don't know how you know so much, to be honest. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? '40s, low 40s. So you're just a kid compared to me. Nah, your knowledge, man. I thought you might have been either the same age or older than me. I notice people's voices. Stop dealing with liars. Yeah, man. I actually, because I can actually do impersonations really good. I'm saving it for a rainy day, right? Like on my previous videos, I did a Nicolas Cage impersonations. I actually can do brilliant, impersonations, right? And because I've been doing it since I was a kid, I'm still single. I've done many tricks. Women and government working together. Yeah, they send femme fatales, isn't it? You know when they say on the floor in some Freemasonic temples, they have a circle for the Eastern Star. And it represents the women Freemasons, doesn't it? The women Masons. They've got their own agents, haven't they, right? And I always remember, what's his name? Yeah, he's, on the circle where the star is, it says fatale, doesn't it? Fatal, fatale, right? And a femme fatale is a woman that guides you to your complete destruction, don't they? They lead you to your destruction. They take everything from you and they destroy you, you know what I mean? So it's like, Eyes Wide Shut. Red cloak, fatale, yeah, fatal. That's what they are, aren't they? Femme fatale, right? Eyes Wide Shut, and the red cloak sitting in the middle, and he's got a staff, hasn't he? And he's got all these women at his command, right? That's what they are, aren't they? That's Freemasons run the Eastern Star, exactly. Well, Kubrick shows it exactly, doesn't he? In that film, he literally strips it bare and shows everything, doesn't he? In Eyes Wide Shut. The femme fatales are there, aren't they? To see in that film exactly what they're about. They're just sent out to go and manipulate men. Scary. Freemason women. They get a little newsletter in the mail and it shows a few words that they want you to use in public, or you get a deal at stores. Oh yeah. You got code words, yeah, and the handshakes, isn't it? It's like the verbal version of the handshakes. You use a couple of words, You know, it's like, say I go into a shop, right, and I'm looking at the counter, and say I go into a music shop and I see a guitar on the wall. I go, that's a nice Gibson on the wall there. And they go, yes, it is. It's one of our nicest guitars in the shop. And then you look at the fella behind the counter, you go, Peter Pepper picked the peck of pickled pepper. Peter Piper picked the peck of pickled pepper. And he goes, it's usually £900, but for you, sir, 40 pence. That's what it's like. That's what the network is like. Did you ever hear David Icke talk about the... I'll put the video up, actually, you know, because you're into me videos, right? I know some people don't like David Icke or whatever, right? But he's got some interesting truths, right? I've always backed him in that sense where it's good enough for me, you know, right? Yeah, nursery rhymes, exactly. Like, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. You go, oh, yes, sir, you're the person we've been looking for. Exactly, sir, yeah. They pull their tongue and say these rhymes, yeah. Man, I don't know, you know so much, you know, I'm amazed, especially, I thought you were the same age as me, or even older, you know, because of the things you knew. I was thinking, oh, this guy knows so much, man. But I've got a video there, right, which I've already done. You might have seen it, I don't know, it was on my older channel, like, you might have seen it years ago, when, you know, you might have by chance seen videos on my old channel without realising it, might you know what I mean? And I took a snippet from a David Icke video, you know, one of his stage shows he does. And he talks about this Australian guy offering him to be a Freemason when he was in Australia, when he was a bit younger. You know, when everyone was onto him and they knew he was going to get famous with with his speeches and everything. And this Australian guy said to him, you want to join the Freemasons, mate? And he said to David Icke, we have a credit card that's got no limits. You know what I mean? They actually have credit cards where there's no limits on the spending. Their bank account hasn't got a fixed fee. You know what I mean? It hasn't a fixed, you know, what do you call it? Whatever they've got saved up, the savings in the bank. They can literally spend limitless. They can buy anything, but they're ordered not to blow the gaff and let people know that their credit card is rigged. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know if you've ever seen it. My grandpas were Freemasons, but they didn't say stuff that I would notice. They just sneak in normal conversation. Oh man, they're coy. They're very coy, aren't they? I saw a black credit card and the person taking the card was waiting for me not to look at the transaction. Wow. It was free, I guess. Yeah. Exactly. Right, well, David Icke talks about it. This guy actually said it to me. He said, if you join us and we give you a free credit card, then you can literally buy anything, but you've got to keep the mouth shut, obviously, and not tell anyone. Like, I think some of these guys don't even tell the wives. Do you know what I mean? The wives could be poor and not really have much money, and they're going around with a credit card with infinite spends, you know what I mean? No limit. I'll put that video up if you're interested. I actually have still got it in my archives, because I put it together with my own music and everything, you know, to make it look kind of like tribal and that, like with David Icke he's talking about. He talks about Ted Heath as well, you know. Have you ever heard David Icke talking about when he met Ted Heath, the British politician that was like he met Ted Heath backstage in a TV studio, and he saw Ted Heath's eyeballs go black. You know, the black-eyed people, what they call the black-eyed people. Molesters. He was more than that, mate. Right. Well, David Icke sat in a room with him backstage for the television show where they put the makeup on and everything. And he said when he sat down, he looked at Ted Heath, right, and he said, hello. You know, like he would. He's saying hello to Ted Heath. He said Ted Heath just looked at him. He didn't even say a word. And he scanned him up and down like that. But his eyes turned... He said his eyeballs turned black. You saw the black-eyed stuff too. Thought it was guys who just had sex. Thought it was gay spirit. Wow, weird. Yeah, the black-eyed people, the real, right? There's something to do with... I think the demonic doubles, to be honest. Let's just pull my microphone wire. Your priests have it. Yeah. Oh man, it's scary, isn't it? Well, you know, you're familiar with the Bible, aren't you? You know the Bible. You know the bit when Paul says, what appeared to be like scales fell from the eyes of these people that have been, changed and renewed. They say scales fall from their eyes, like the things what snakes have, you know what I mean? Some guy tried to buy music equipment from me and he did the black eye. Oh my word. So you've actually seen it yourself. The veil. Wow, weird. But you know when David Icke said that about Ted Heath, immediately I thought, it's not a human, is it? They're not humans. They just turning on. They try to scare me. Oh, listen. Lately, men have been snapping their voices to make me turn my head. I hold back. Wow. Yeah, even just catching your eye, isn't it? I mean, remember us talking about from a distance, people can snap their voices. Wow. Weird. They're probably not humans, man. Wow, weird. Have you got any relatives that listen to you about these things? Have you got any relatives you're close to and like family that connect to you or listen to you, like country folk? Have you noticed most of us guys on YouTube and some of the women too? Yeah, when we talk about these things, our family don't understand, do they? You know, because it's kind of like we've been targeted, haven't we? And it's designed so no one believes us. Wow, your mum's Eastern Star. Oh my word. Oh, whoa. Wow. Are they friendly with you? They actually communicate? You know, do they actually, they're still friendly with you, like? Wow, yeah. Man, I think you got loads to say, man. I think it's really interesting. I mean, because you don't do no frills on your videos and stuff, you're not really like trying to grab attention, are you? You know what I mean? It's all just real. You just tell it like it is, right? They don't say they are Masons or anything, right? Yeah, they just use code. Wow. That's peculiar, isn't it, man? I mean, I reckon I was invited. I reckon I was initiated. People, I think the Freemasons at one point, right, were trying to initiate me, and I didn't want to do it. You see, the way the Bible tells us we're not allowed to swear codes or what do you call it, vows. We're not allowed to swear vows to organisations, right? It's forbidden, isn't it? If we're sort of in the know, right? But that's what Freemasonry is, isn't it? It's you swear vows not to tell anybody what's going on and that, like, you know what I mean? It can be useful. I can understand, like, like firemen and policemen and all that kind of thing, all kind of having connections, like. But it's got to the point now, if they've got their own credit cards and all that kind of stuff, it's wrong, isn't it? They probably need you to mess up so they can control you first. Yeah, well, they did that to me. They were like, this was like back in the 90s. I felt like I was being initiated into things, and I didn't know what it was at the time. Everyone was sort of like welcoming, and all these doors were opening and stuff, right? Then I started finding out about the Freemasons, right? And I realised, I think they're trying to initiate me. So I had to step backwards and say, look, no. And then everyone seems to be giving me black balls, like black pool balls. When they black ball you, it's like they don't, you get a white ball if you're being accepted, and a black ball if they're rejecting you, isn't it, right? I was getting black balled left, right, and centre, man. Right before I turned 33, everyone went nuts on me. Exactly, that was what happened to me. I was 33. I was 33 when it all started. This is when I started believing there was a God, when I was 33, because of all the stuff that was going on around me. That's where I got I felt like God was telling me not to listen to him. God was even telling me to ignore my girlfriend at the time because she was connected to her mother was a female Freemason, do you know what I mean? And the spirit was actually saying to me, This might sound hard, Bruce, but you might have to cut ties with her, you know what I mean, and get on with it, like, because there's Freemasons connected to it, you know what I mean. It means you made it real far without being helped. Exactly, yeah. I did. I could have been driving around in Rolls Royces now, but I didn't want it. Like, 40 is the last time the programmers really try, I think. Wow. Yeah, because I don't get any more. They don't try and do anything to me. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like an outsider, you know. I actually know when I look at people in the streets, or even people I know I've known from years ago, like, I know the Freemasons because of their attitude towards me. It's like, yeah, but no, you know what I mean? Hello, Bruce, yeah, but, you know, go away. You know, they got that kind of attitude. It's like, hello, Bruce, how's it going? You okay? All right, I'll beat it. And I was like, okay, all right, calm down. But if I'd have accepted what they were offering me when I was in, like, you know, that about the 90s, I could have been driving around in limousines and all kinds of stuff. Do you know what I mean? I could have been a very wealthy man, and I was like, I'm not accepting that. Like, I'm not doing anything for other people. No one's in charge of me. They say 33 is the biggest awakening you can get. I had a teacher say this years before I dealt with it. Wow, crazy. So you were prepared for it, really, weren't you? I didn't have a clue what was going on. I was lost in space, but I was doing a lot of LSD. I was doing quite a lot of LSD at the time, so I thought it was all in my imagination, you know. I read a great book. There's a book out there. If you go online, right, and it's on the internet. You know, you can find if you type in Robert Carlyle, the Manual of Freemasonry. I didn't trust anyone, though, so my connections were few. Yeah, man. You've got definitely. What's your star sign? Because your instincts, I don't know, man. You're proper instinctive, like, aren't you, man? They tried to get me to make out with Aquarius, man. Yeah, they tried with talk with dirty or underage girls, my friends' little sisters. Yeah, that's the old trick, isn't it? Like, well, yeah, I'll tell you, I don't want to say too much, right? Let's just put it this way, right? I'll ask you this way, right? You know, if a man, right, goes to a nightclub, right? He goes into a nightclub, you know what we call, I used to go to a club and it's where it's like bikers and rockers and everything, right? And I'm like, just imagine a man, he's 20, I'm speaking metaphysically, right? A 28-year-old man, right? A 28-year-old man goes to a nightclub which is full of bikers and rockers, and all the chicks are walking around with tight jeans on and leather jackets and everything, right? You know, loads of fitties and that, like. You've got to be 18 and over to get into a nightclub, haven't you, right? Just imagine, right, a scenario where one of the chicks comes onto you in the nightclub, right? She drags you home because you're a bit bevied and that, like. She drags you home, she's drunk, you're drunk. She takes you on to her house. You have sex, right? Well, let's put it this way. She rapes you, right? She actually rapes you. The girl actually rapes you, right? You have sex, right? And then a couple of weeks later, you meet her again in the same nightclub, and you know. So you say you bang, so you have like a couple of rows, you know what they call it, a roll in the hay. Say, I don't know, 3 or 4 times you meet up and get laid with this chick, right? Then you go to the nightclub and you've split up, and she started seeing someone else and you started seeing someone else, but you're still talking to this person, right? This, you know, a 28-year-old guy still talking. Say, hello, love, how's it going? She's like, yeah, she's in a nightclub. You've got to be 18 and over to get in, right? And she looks like she's over 18. Do you get me? She's quite a, you know, a fit chick, right? And then she says to the man, oh, it's my birthday today. And you go, oh, is it your birthday? Oh, great, how old are you? And she goes, I'm 16. Right. She tells the 28-year-old man she's 16. Right. He hasn't even got a clue, which means when he had sex with her, she was 15. Right. If the man didn't know how old she was, right, and he just, all it was, she dragged from a nightclub for 18-year-old and over, right? We're not talking about like standing outside the school watching them in the playground. This is like in a nightclub for adults, right? Does that make that man a paedophile? Is that man a paedophile because he had sex with a girl, she was 15, but he thinks she's over 18? Because that's a trap, isn't it? If she doesn't tell you how old she is, right? She's trying to set you up, isn't she? So she can, I don't know, blackmail you later on, or, emotional blackmail, or the guy cabin still gets in trouble. The guy can, yeah, no, but he's still a fault by the law. Exactly, right? She's setting you up, isn't she? It's a setup. So, but in your heart of hearts, you thought she was an adult. You haven't got a clue how old they are, right? Right. So I think a woman, if she does that and she doesn't tell you, she tells you on her birthday she's 16. She's basically looking at you saying, I was actually 15 all along there, right? But this is the crux though, man. Here's where the crux is. She wasn't a virgin when you meet her, right? Her boyfriend in that nightclub is, her former boyfriend is in the same nightclub, and he's like right. If she's trying to make you look like a paedophile, then her ex-boyfriend, who's in that same nightclub, who's obviously in his 20s, he's not 15 himself. He's a paedophile even more, isn't he? Because he's been with her all along before you meet them, right? So he's a bigger paedophile than anyone because he knows she's well under 15, doesn't he? Or he knows she's 15, and they've known each other for quite a long time. So he's the real paedophile, isn't he? The ex-boyfriend, do you know what I mean? But it's like a honey trap, isn't it? They're trying to make you seem like you're a paedophile. Do you know what I mean? Because by law, to me, a paedophile is a predatory animal type man, right? He's a predatory animal, and he literally goes out searching for children. He's not interested in adults. That's what a paedophile is, isn't it? You know what I mean? I was in a car with a 16-year-old a few years ago at night. I didn't know. I didn't touch her though, right? Well, there you go. It's no problem, is it? We should take it as a compliment, shouldn't we? If we get approached by younger women, at least. But in a nightclub environment, you know what I mean? I don't care what it. Paedophilia, right? People they're actually looking for children, do you know what I mean? That's what a real paedophile is. It's getting stupid online, man, isn't it? Like, say, here's a crazy story where I felt like I was being set up, right? This is another one, right? One of my friends who I hang around with is a bit, look, I met her at a bar too. She wore a bikini out in public. Oh my word. Man. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. What was I thinking? I completely what I was going to say. Oh my word, you took me completely by surprise there. Oh man. Yeah. Wow, isn't that crazy, man? Yeah, no way did I think she was underage. Wow, that's weird. Oh, man. Wow, what was the point I was going to make? I was going to say something. What was it, man? Oh, I'll try and get my train of thought back. That's... what was I going to say? I mean, some people, right, that's it. This is it, right? One of my friends who was suspected he's a bit of a soldier or something, and he was always trying to plant me, put plants on me, right? I sussed him out because he was putting plants on me. It's as simple as it, right? Right? What he did was, he sold me a second-hand mobile phone, right? A second-hand mobile phone back in the day, one of these kind of phones, just like a sort of ordinary-looking thing, like that kind of thing, right? And he used to be on the internet on the phone and download things, obviously, right? He sells me a mobile phone, right? And he goes, there's a load of porn on there, though, you know what I mean? There's a lot of porn on there. You'll have to get rid of it yourself if you want to, or you can leave it on if you want, right? Because he was a porn head. He was obsessed with it, right? He'd download loads of porn. One of the free clips that you can download. He was like, he was into it, big time. He was much younger than me, you know what I mean? And he sells me this mobile phone, right? Which I'm getting into the phone thinking, yeah, brilliant. And I'm checking out some of these clips that he's left on it, thinking, And I'm thinking, I've got to get rid of these clips, man, you know what I mean? They're just chicks being banged and all that kind of stuff, you know, the usual stuff, like, right. And I'm like, I better get rid of this, right? And in the titles, right, while it was on the phone, you know, if you just check the titles, they said things like, you know, the usual stuff like dirty fuck, or, you know, like big tits, you know, stupid little captions for each little video clip. And I was like, I sat there for like an hour, you know, having to erase everything from the phone because he'd set it up, because it was a setup, right? And I deleted one of them, and it looked like an adult woman, right, doing something, right? And I pressed the delete button, and you know when it tells you what it's deleting, it goes deleting, and it tells you the name of the file when it's being deleted, right? And on this particular clip, in the title, it didn't say nothing about anything underage, right? When I pressed the delete button, it went, deleting, I like girls 15. The title was I like girls 15, right? This guy gave me the phone loaded with the stuff, you know what I mean? I was thinking, oh, you sly bastard. I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't delete it, you know what I mean? I was like, you sly bastard. It was planted, you know what I mean? I like girls 15. Can you see where we're being set up? Hope it was episode 15. No, it was actually I like girls, something like age 15. It actually was referring to the girl's age. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking. So the guy who put it on the phone was obviously a paedophile, isn't he? Or he was into younger people, like, you know what I mean? And he knew what he was doing, like. I actually think he got the phone off his dad, to be honest. I think he got it off his arm, man, you know, and his dad was a weirdo, like. Proper pervert. Okay, man. Alright, let's just check who's watching. Is there any other watching? Like, 'cause it's quite interesting, this, isn't it? It's getting, like, you know, there's only 2 watching. We've gone down to 2. Okay, then. Alright, man, I'm getting off. I've got to get my head down. It's getting late here and that, like, and I'll be on tomorrow. I'll be doing some live streams tomorrow from about, hopefully about 7 o'clock or something in the evening this time, you know, in England, like. And I've got some more speeches to do. I've actually got a deep dream to talk about, to be honest, that I thought you'd be interested in hearing about. I don't know what you're about. What are you like on, you know, dreams and visions and stuff? I've got some really crazy dreams and visions to talk about, you know what I mean? And some of my dreams are quite prophetic, you know, and strange, you know. So I've got a dream to talk about tomorrow, which is quite interesting and that, like. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, then I'm getting off now, right? And I'll communicate tomorrow. Anyone else who's watching, thanks for watching. It's getting late, got to get my head down. And I shall disconnect in 10 seconds. Alright, mates, thanks for watching. See you, man. I appreciate you coming on board. And whoever else is watching, thanks a lot. So we've done our, you know, our morality. We are moral people, folks. Someone's trying to set us up. It's as simple as that. Alright, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back on tomorrow. See you later.